Welcome back. We love you. We miss you. Have you done something new with your hair? It looks fabulous. Come here, pull up a seat. I got our favorite music playing. We're just gonna have a chill night tonight. So episode 11, and we just wanted to say thank you for staying with us at the big double one. And because of all your awesome love and hard work, we have become affiliated, and that means we could do more awesome things for you and more awesome things with you and tell these crazy stories. We're still kind of working on some things though. There's a lot of taxes and stuff that we have to do. So while we're doing that, we figured we could open up episode 11 as just a chill night. So what we're going to be doing tonight is kicking back, relaxing. We're going to read some fanfic that you guys sent in to us. And if you guys want to send in a fanfic to our email while this episode is going live, and I get it in time, I might just read it sight unseen. Don't ruin that trust. I'm trusting you guys. Don't get too spicy. I like spice, but not too much. I'm a mayo man myself. But that being said, not only are we going to read some fanfic, we are going to open up the whole shebang. Do you have any questions about the world, the lore, the characters? Have a Q&A right there in the chat. We'll open up and be honest with you. We're just here to have fun. Now, if you have any questions about stuff like, what is this country like? And we haven't gotten there and that's a secret, I might pull my GM secret card and say, maybe we'll find out later. But we're just here to have some fun. So without further ado, why don't we start with some fanfic? That way we just kind of keep the chat going. So do you have the fanfic all ready?
I do. I have mine.
Okay. Hold on. I think I have a copy of that myself. Let me just pull it up on my handy dandy computer that I'm totally on. Give me a second.
Right. I'm not going to lie, when I read this, because I was going to be like, well, I'll just read it on stream for the first time. I'm like, well, that would have been very cute. Also, just in case there was any danger, I wanted to read it beforehand. But it makes me so happy. Also, just in case there was any
It is super cute.
Happy. I really like it. Anywho's it. Do you want to start? The person who wrote this wanted to remain anonymous, so we're not going to say their name. Honestly, I don't know their name. But I just want to say thanks.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cute.
Love it. If you hear this and you recognize it as yours, let us know, or know that we love your work and we're happy to read it.
Yeah. PJ, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to... There's a morale line at the very end. Do you want me to read the first paragraph and then you read the...
Yeah, let's do it.
Second and third?
Yeah, let's do it that way. How about you read all of it and I'll read the morale line at the very end.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. Cool. All right. So, Ilona stood in the temple like a stalk of grain in the sun, golden and nourishing. Her mere presence perhaps shouldn't be so rare, but hard times make for full pews and harder faith, not the softness she was used to. Ilona stood upon the bench preaching passionately of righteous love, of forgiveness and redemption. A ray of light streaming through the rafters alighted her auric hair and cascaded down her flushed cheek. She was drunk, likely for the first time, shouting her sermon through the hall of gods. Morel, though, was struck as he stood there for what felt to have been hours. He was to be keeping watch over her, but for all his sober judgment, he was just too stunned to calm her. Her voice growing in power and conviction, deafening to his senses and obliterating to his spirit, like the voice of an angel in its raw splendor, even as it grew hoarse with condemnation of the hatred that these people had brought into the house of her goddess. Did she really think that he could be forgiven for all that he had done and everything that he was? These people spat on him, but surely they had the right to hate him. If anyone did, it was them. He told Ilona as much. He told her of the burden he bore upon his back like a piece of sodden lumber, but she would have none of it. Then, in that split moment between words, she looked at him truly. She looked at him with those eyes like a tropical ocean, so warm and inviting that you welcome the thought of drowning in their endless crystal depth. Everything in him yearned to touch her, to caress the cheek of this seraph spun honey in glass. The sweetness of her sure to make him drunk like rum more than anything else they'd had. She spoke to him like he deserved to sit in the sun, looking at the world, never thinking, am I enough? In that moment, all that mattered was that he was enough to her. He struggled to stay in this stopped time where there was nothing but the two of them, stripped naked to their purest form, down to their bare hearts. She wore hers on the outside, like all heroes must. Until now, he'd protected his with steel. But around her, it strained and fractured at the binding. It urged him to press his lips to hers and let the taste of burnt sugar and flowers wash over him.
I'm sorry. We were praying. I should go back to that now. Yeah.
And that was it.
I love that. That was so cute.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah, that's a. I didn't know that. Okay, So this is a picture of all the things we have in our head, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing because we all have, everyone who's playing the game, and I think everyone who's watching at home has these moments of scenes they see in their head perfectly clear. And it's awesome for whoever that was to be able to put that into words so everybody else could get that same picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like awesome.
That was so good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Guys, you know how I feel about feelings, and I have a feeling. I just don't. But I'm not mad about it.
You have a feeling, the feeling that you just can't hide.
What I loved about that is I feel like the person who wrote this captured, I think, perfectly the juxtaposition of both of these two people whose goddess is love and redemption and passion and light and all these kind of things, and perfectly encapsulated how they could both be the two different sides of the same goddess in their heart. I think that was really, really cool.
It's also really interesting because it brings up actually one of Alona's, and I think everyone that follows Afra's anathemas. Anathema?
Mm-hmm.
How do you? Okay.
The words beyond my comprehension now.
It's basically a law that they have to follow that they can't break, or the thing that goes against their character. So one of Afra's main things is that always seek redemption in others. So literally, Alona can't not give someone a second chance, because there's always room for improvement. There's always room for someone to change. And it's so interesting because, yes, Morel follows the same God, and he does it for other people, but he won't do it to himself.
I think I want to say he said this at one point. I think he said sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself.
That's very true.
Yeah, I think we all know that. I think, like, I always tell people, like, I'm my own worst critic. You know what I mean? Like, people be like, "Oh no, it was great. It was great." In my head, I'm like, "That was terrible. You could do better." You know, and it's rough.
I think it's also really cool that they chose to witness a party member of the adventuring group from an NPC's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool because, like, as a viewer, I can see for them. It's something I don't think about. I don't think about how Morel or like anyone or Zoshmaru sees us as the party members. I think about how Woodwort sees them. So it's really cool to hear from the other side, the chat side of things, of like, oh, I can actually see the rest of you through this guy's eyes. Somebody I haven't comprehended before.
Pengu Chan made a really good point. They say, if I treated anyone half as bad as I treated myself, they wouldn't stick around, and rightly so. God, isn't that just the horrible human truth of it, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are our own worst enemies. I want to open up before we go to the next fanfic. If we want to discuss this one more, I'd love to. But Mahooch, I think I'm saying that right. Mahooch had a great question. Well, first he says, is there a Senate? Is there a Congress? What are the political parties? in a city run by a Senate?
Yes.
Great question. So Adelphon, in its inception, if you have to look at empires as what's the thing this empire gives to the world, right? Adelphon, their gift, depending on how you approach it, is diplomacy. I was this close to saying democracy, but that's a special type of diplomacy. So they are a diplomatic empire. Their history is rife with internal civil wars. I believe before they became an empire, they were a series of about 7 to 9 territories. And they were constantly warring and killing one another over land disputes, over tithing disputes, over whatever they could, trying to seize more land, money, farming, whatever from the other person. And then eventually, one of the territories, the largest territory, Adelphon, or Adelphon Prime, as they call themselves now, started this vigorous campaign to basically war against each territory and force them into a greater empire. This is kind of why, and you'll hear this more and more as the story progresses, why Adelphon is prone to civil war. Tons of it. In fact, backstory we haven't quite gotten to yet, kind of alluded to. There was another civil war of secession about 5 years ago from one of the peoples. It just recently ended. And when that picks up, you'll learn more about that. But yeah, Acadians had a small hand in this one. So their entire thing is diplomacy. They have major academies designed to be places of learning, not only liberal arts, but poli science, politics, lawyerisms, legalese. I'm sure Rufo would love the legalese there. So their big thing is politics. And from there, we have the different political parties, if you will. So when you go to Senate, there is no chair higher than the others. One of the things working really hard on this was creating a political system whereby corruption would be either impossible or very difficult. And thank you to my co-creator, Sidney, for helping me with this, because we were talking, I think, for an hour about just the political system alone. It was so long. We were trying so hard. Okay, wait, how can that get manipulated? All right, no, get rid of that. The seats in the Senate are done. Everyone has the exact same power. The only difference is, though, is that some people have seniority. So you get this thing where they don't lead anything, but you get 60 humans in a room. They're bound to listen to, well, humans is relative. You have dwarves and elves on the council or on the Senate, but you're bound to get people who are like, I want to listen to you, but I personally know them longer and they're making good points. You can't really ignore that. But what you can do is secure interests of state. And that being said, you have, now these are just the political parties, if you will, that I can talk about at length right now. There's the Foreign Affairs political party. There are maybe 3 or 4 senators that all make a certain seat, the foreign seat, and their politics, their contribution is, how does Adelphon compare to the city-states and the rest of the world? You have the local affairs, again, issues relevant to Adelphon Prime and other city issues. You have the military, as we met Magistra Bellina. These are people that focus on the guard, the military, the might, the tactics, etc. They're the ones that will bring up to the conversation like, oh, hey, by the way, we're getting invaded by 5 armies of orcs. Maybe we should do something about that. The last 2 are trade and education. Now, these are both internal and external resources, right? So there's a lot of carryover. Trade likes to play with foreign and local affairs. Education likes to play with local and sometimes military. There's a lot of working together, because the one thing that they are about is unity and power through unity. They've had civil wars their entire life. They hate them. So they try to strive to stop them. Doesn't always happen. And that's where we get the Knight Senators. And this is a very awesome thing that, again, I'm really proud of Sidney and I for crunching this idea out. So imagine you live in, let's say, the wonderful city-states of California, and you have every couple of years. So it's not like there's no way to be a professional politician. So it's like maybe 1 or 2 years. You have this knight. they are brought forth to a council. They are charged, they are tried, they are given a task, they're given all these things. And if they succeed, they take the title. And they will then go forward to the Adelphon Senate of these United States. And then they will join the Senate conversation, not only in the greater bit of wisdom, but also in regards to their city state. So it's like, imagine if the Senate and the House of Reps finally cut out the middleman and just squished them together. And now you have a more collaborative effort from these two different houses in one house. If this is becoming very boring, I don't blame you. Politics can be very boring. But the cool thing to know is that these knight senators, they're not just politicians. They are still warriors. They have to earn their position, not just by wisdom and education, but by strength and valor. And then they have to return back to their land, as we see here and there. And 1 minute, Michael. I'll be done in just a second. I swear. And then they have to vacate the title to their squire, who they've been training to take the job. And once you have the job, you cannot have it again. So therein lies. There's some other things, but I'll save you that. Michael, what'd I miss?
I was just gonna say, so basically Bernie Sanders with a broadsword.
Yes.
They're
Bernie.
very well-rounded boys and girls and people
Yes.
and individuals.
I also now
Very
love the
well-rounded.
idea of Bernie as a paladin covered in armor with a giant flaming sword. Feel the burn.
I think that's an NPC we might have to create at the table.
I think we're going to have to make that.
Guys. Or he's a bard, because have you seen the bongo videos?
No, I don't think I have.
He does this
Yes,
so much with
Sidney.
his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Online, they make videos where they put bongos underneath his hands and put bongo music over top of it. So it just sounds like he's just playing bongos. So I think Bernie's a bard, but that's just me.
I mean, he can multi-class.
Multi-class.
Multi-class indeed. Bernie Bongo. That could be his holy weapon. His holy weapon could be the bongos of righteousness.
Can I recommend Bonnie Burngo?
Bonnie Bongo. I love it. Now
Also,
I'm just seeing.
now that we've talked about the government, you know what's wrong with the city. What was that?
What was that, Ian? You were saying something?
Oh, I said, now that you know what's wrong with the Senate, you know what's wrong with the city.
What were you saying, Michael?
Oh, I said, actually, could we also gender swap him and make it Bonnie Bongos?
Well,
Bonnie Bongo.
Bonnie Burngo, I think was the original name. I love it. I can say this, I guess. You're going to eventually meet a halfling paladin from a group called the Order of the Platinum Hammer. And
I know this person already.
Yeah, she's great fun. Her name is Lucy Goodbook. She is this red-haired halfling lass, and I don't want to spoil too much about her, but she's got a good boy as a riding companion, and she's just a lot of fun. So I cannot wait to unleash that character on you.
A beautiful. Okay, this will be my little anecdote right now. A beautiful little background for me and PJ is we've known each other for. Are we at 5 years now?
I have known you since I moved to California. Yeah, I think it's been about 7 years.
Yeah, when I moved to Southern California, we met within a month or two after we found each other playing Pathfinder. So PJ and I have spent a lot of late nights just talking his world at one point or another. And he kept coming up with these amazing concepts. The Platinum Hammer, these cities I had never heard of, these gods I had never heard of. And I shot ideas all the time. And then all of a sudden, PJ asked me to be on this stream. I was like, yeah, I'm in. And I realized that all these ideas I'd heard snippets about was what I'm going to have to be playing through. And it's awesome to hear things like the Platinum Hammer brought up and these other characters that we've definitely, I've never played a game with the halfling character you've brought up. But I've definitely heard the Cliff Notes version at 1 a.m. at a diner of this character. And so it's just wait, I know that. I don't know that person, but I also know who, roughly who they are. It's kind of cool to have this snippet of the world that I have in the back of my head. I think Sidney probably feels this even more than I do, where there's still surprises because you haven't looked deeper than like well, for me, Sydney's deeper into it than I am, but like I haven't looked past the surface. I've just been enjoying it from back here. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, the Platinum Hammer. And now I'm sitting here going, what do I know about the Platinum Hammer? What did we talk about? That was like a year and a half ago. Wait, I'm like trying to find all like the sneak peeks I can pull out of the game. I don't know. It's cool to see like all of this come together as something that I know PJ specifically, and I'm sure Sidney has too, but has been working on for so long that it's all coming to fruition.
Yeah.
So Ian, you could say it was just foreshadowing for these events to come.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So
I
You get a hero point.
What?
Oh,
Hero point.
Kylie gets a hero point.
I think also everyone has that to an extent where like we played so many practice games before this that now we're just like biting our teeth waiting for our favorite NPCs to pop up again. And like, what?
No, go ahead. Keep going. Sorry.
I was just gonna say in episode 9 when PJ was like, there's a handsome stranger and he's kind of, you know, himself.
Yep.
And we were like, well, we know who that is.
And
that was fun. What were we saying?
is everyone else getting an echo?
I am.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too. Oh, Angelise is rating us. Hey, Angelise.
Hey!
Raid! I wonder where the echo is coming from.
Yeah. Is anyone here? Joe, are you hearing the echo, Joe? Let me check some things. Oh, I think the echo's gone.
Huh.
Wow, that's weird. Either way,
Raid!
raid!
Back. Raid! You came at literally the most confusing part of the show.
Yes. For all the people hopping in and rating us, I want to say thank you so much and welcome. Hopefully this isn't too much of a heartbreaker, but we hit episode 11. We've already been blessed with an amazing affiliate, and while we're working on fixing and finalizing some things, we thought we'd do an awesome Q&A, open up some questions to the players, about the players, about the world, about the fanfics we're reading. So if you guys are just joining us, have any questions about our world, any questions about PCs, NPCs, what was going through my head when I made up Gobulon, whatever that you want to ask, I'm an open book. And also, we just read one fanfic. We have another fanfic to read. And before I continue, I would be absolutely remiss if I did not bring everyone's attention to the Twitch poll that should be somewhere on the screen. Hopefully you guys can see it. On Tuesdays, me and Michael do the show At the Table, where we discuss some fun, like how to build characters and deep dives in some of the great Paizo books that are out there. So for funsies, we made a handful of fan-made organizations from the organization tool in the book that Paizo gave us. So you look at the Twitch picks. If you can, please vote for which organization that you think sounds cool. If you want to know more about it, put a question in the chat. And by the end of tonight's episode, whichever one of those groups has the most votes, that becomes an official canonical place that I have to now make up and pull out of my butt and make a real thing. So please give it a look-a-loo. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Can we vote? I know we shouldn't. I know we shouldn't.
Look, I can't prove it wasn't you, so
just a good point. You can't tell. You can't tell. Kylie, which one of those looks best to you?
See, it's not bad unless you get caught.
True.
Never get caught.
Yeah.
Out of the poll?
Yeah.
The poll. Yeah, I know I did it before.
So like, which one's
live.
my favorite out of the poll?
Yes. I want to know.
I really like the Cult of the Crystal Stag. I'm not gonna lie.
Ooh.
That sounds really dope, doesn't it?
Right? I was like, ooh, that sounds real good. I would join them. I won't, but I would. I'd be like, that's a badass name.
Hell yeah.
That goes against all my characters' points, but it's cool.
You just found the poll?
It?
Yeah, I've been fighting with my phone to figure out how to see it on
If you
Okay, so the rest of them work and could be real life things, but I really want the College of Prats and Stunts to be something. I just can't not vote for that.
that's not the clown one, is it?
It
Maybe.
doesn't matter. It's perfect.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks
So-
for having my back.
Just
We don't
just
need clowns in
imagine.
this game.
Just imagine a Bard college that teaches you how to be a stunt double and a pratfall clown. So your entire life is to give inspiration to others while you jump in front of the punches meant for their face.
So I just realized I'm logged into my account, but not as one of the moderators on the stream, which means I can vote.
Yeah.
Darn.
Really
Uh,
fast.
Or
Yeah.
vote twice.
Really fast.
Ooh.
Pengu-chan, I see that you're going to go lay down, but to keep the laptop up, we thank you so much for keeping the laptop up and listening. And when you do fall asleep, sleep well. I'll sing you a lullaby. I'll tell you a bedtime story. I'm really good at telling bedtime stories. Yes, and Malice. I think Spriggs hit it right on the head there. Top right of chat, you should be able to find the voting thing.
The voting thing.
The voting thing.
We are
Look.
eloquent here.
Look, I'm an idea guy, not a speaking guy. I don't speak. That's not what I do.
Just like a little bit.
Well, that's the funny thing is now we're pulling back the curtains for everyone to realize that while we're on stream, we are much more collected, and we put on this false bravado at times of I can speak eloquently at this moment.
I feel like it's easier when you're in character and not yourself.
Of course,
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
we'll just restart. We'll just start with the stream over again with introduction. My name's Woodward, and I'm here playing Ian. And we'll just pretend we're our characters, and everything will be okay.
Don't do that. I will have such a horrendous identity crisis. Which one am I?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, PJ. That is a little bit for you.
Yeah,
So we'll
it's
be
like-
playing our characters as ourselves.
yeah.
Yes.
Mm,
Now,
Guys, I
now-
can't figure out who I am. How am I supposed to figure out who Shiotabis is as me?
mm.
Oh, damn, that got deep.
I got a good question for you. So there's a saying, every good writer puts themselves in their work. So here's my challenge to the audience, and hopefully as we grow, more people can answer this question. Which NPC, and you haven't met all of them yet, you've only met a handful, which NPC is me?
Oh.
So I think that's going to take a while to answer. I have,
Yeah.
but I have my own answers. And here's the thing: is there's also the whole level of subconsciously putting yourself into your NPCs, right, or your characters that you'd write. So there's a little bit of how am I trying to say this? PJ is reflected in every single one of the MPs he put up, or NPCs he put up in one way or another.
That's true. Malice 1974 said, duh, all of them. So, exactly, Ian.
There are
on
different
to me.
aspects of PJ. There are different aspects of PJ. It's a multiverse of PJs.
We do have to say that, that PJ is like an onion.
I
Yes!
There's
No,
so many
wait.
layers.
No, I think I'm gonna break it and say I am a cake. I'm a sweet, sugary confection.
Oh, now I want cake.
You're welcome.
Well,
I got cookies,
welcome.
but that's as good as I got.
Truth.
So Reap Psyched has asked all the objectivity or objectively corrected answer, but are we being specific? Yes, please. Be specific. And also, I'm a snack with no C. Okay, I'll take it.
I love it.
I think that's pronounced snock.
Snock. Is that like snake but without the E?
Yeah.
Ah.
No, that's
No, that's
snack.
snack.
Yeah, I'm a
That's like
snack.
and when we're in Twin Mask and when the snacks.
All right, the snacks.
Snacks.
I put
I
that
feel
mod
like-
out. I feel bad.
I'm going to take the pressure off of PJ for a moment, and I think we need to wrap ourselves back around to the other piece of fan fiction before this train can't even find the rails anymore.
That's a good
That's
point.
true.
That's a good
I
point.
like it.
'Cause
Yeah.
we were on this like trajectory, and then much like any one of us in game making a decision, immediately turn left, and we're gone.
Yeah. Which, by the way, thank you
True.
so much, Kylie for going into the temple and doing all that stuff with Felix Chance. The minute it started kicking in, I was like, "Oh, this is great."
So many decisions, so many regrets, but like no regrets at the same time.
Like, and here's the thing: I have in my brain a potential way that you can get a finger, but I'm really curious what the hell you're going to do to get a finger.
I'm sure.
Okay, because I already have an idea of how I'm going to get a finger.
Oh God.
And like, I'm just kind of now just waiting. And I just need a certain someone to stay in town. And that's it. That's all I'll tell you guys. But
okay. This is going to be terrible. So next up, we have a fanfic. Let me double check to make sure this individual wanted to be named on stream or not.
They did, and they wanted a shout out to their Instagram.
Absolutely. So in that case, I will do that right now. The next fanfic we're about to read is called Woofa's Millions, which I believe is a combination of Woodward and Woofa. And Woofa's Millions is written by Brian Mahoney. So Brian, if you're here and listening, we love you. Thank you so much for the submission.
He's here.
Is that Mahooch?
Oh yeah, he's here.
Don't
let him hide.
Okay, Brian.
He knows what he did.
Mahooch. Big shout out to their Instagram, the typing pint. That is _TYPIN _pint PINT. The typing pint. I like that name.
I like it too.
Yeah. Really all right. So let me just offer this suggestion. Ian and Rufa, if you have your scripts, if you have your fanfics, I will read the actions and you guys read your dialogue.
Works for me.
Sounds great.
All right. So without further ado, I will kick off Woofa's Millions. Woodward dreamed of mushrooms. He was seated at a long, rough-hewn table in a wooded clearing. The table was jammed with all manner of foods from every city imaginable that he ventured was the reason it looked so foreign. His chair looked as though it was carved from a single block of wood. All the chairs looked that way, and each one a different type of tree. He would have thought more about the effort it took to whittle all this wood if it weren't for the strange, sentient mushrooms seated at every chair.
What?
Said one of the mushrooms, spores spilling from its soft jowls as it spoke. It was unpleasant and upsetting, and in fact, many of Woodward's experiences in the city were unpleasant and upsetting.
Woodward!
He heard it again. This time the voice was familiar.
Hey, I'm in trouble,
the mushroom voice said. He blinked awake, his straw hat tumbling off his unkempt hair to the color of forest loam.
Wake up, friend,
the voice said again. Woodward looked into the face of his companion, Rufa, who was slightly out of breath.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy,
Woodward mumbled.
I must have nodded off there.
It's okay. It's barely dawn,
Rufa said. Woodward rolled over and brushed up against his lifelong badger buddy Mush. He was used to waking up with the roosters, but lately this stay in the city had his internal sundial all twisted up. Rufa, on the other hand, was a world-wise entertainer. He took to the city life as, well, a badger takes to dirt.
Come on, friends,
Rufa pleaded.
I need your help.
Woodward turned back. Rufa's eyes were red and puffy. He bounced and vibrated with energy.
What's got all your geese all a-gaggling?
Woodward asked.
You look like a day-old turnip in a vinegar jar.
Rufa jammed his hand in his satchel and showed Woodward 5 gold coins. The bag was brimming with the most gold either of them ever saw in their lives.
I have a problem,
Rufa said. Woodward's eyes were wide.
That don't look like a problem so much as an unlimited supply of hooch for as long as your liver can quiver,
he said.
Or as much cabbage as you can munch, Mush.
The badger cocked an eyebrow and went back to sleep. Not understanding the subtlety and nuance of the Adelphon Prime economy. Rufa stuffed the coins back in his pocket.
You know, Master Cassius Dominus, the senator.
Oh, that feller you had a date with the other night?
Rendezvous!
Rufa corrected.
Well, Master Dominus has ignited his campaign for re-election, but due to fundraising error, he suddenly is flush with cash. A benefactor raised it at the Lucky Star Tavern. He was vague on the details, some of which involve election laws that prohibit candidates from profiteering from magically procured coins. I digress. The charge he made to me is this: get rid of the money through untraceable purchases in the next 24 hours before Adadon Prime's election commission conducts its next audit of Maxa Dominus finances.
So, you're telling me
Woodward said slowly.
we need to spend all this money today?
Woodward yawned and stretched. An earthly smell filled the small room at the Adolphon Public House number 1 as he raised his arms. Rufa tamped down his revulsion. Perhaps a trip to the soapy day spa could be added to the agenda.
Man, why do you always take on quests with time frames?
Woodward asked. Then, collecting his straw hat and travel bag, he stood up and cracked his neck.
All right, buddy. Me and Mush will help you dispose of your friend's ill-gotten income. But at the end of this, we got to talk about your tendency to overcommit.
Rufa beamed. He hopped from one foot to the other, his lithe dancer body gracefully bopping with the thrill of what was to come.
Oh, Woodward, you shall not regret it. I promise you that.
The three companions ventured out into one of Adolphon Prime's main thoroughfares. As this was breakfast, they stopped by the Bun Boys for food. They purchased the entire stock of morning buns, and then they purchased the business. The next travel to one of Adolphon Prime's largest orphanages.
Now,
Rufus said,
Master Dominus had very specific instructions for the money. We can't donate the gold to a charity, at least the organization determines its source, but I have another idea that will spread it quickly.
Rufa asked a young dwarf child to fetch the orphanage director. They soon returned with a half-elf who, though skeptical about the stranger's offer, invited them into their office.
What's the one thing that your orphanage could really use but never afford?
Rufa asked. I'll read this guy. Well, since our horses died last winter, we haven't had any transportation. We sold the wagon to pay rent last month.
Say no more,
said Woodward.
I can build you one in no time.
Rufa jabbed him with an elbow.
Or we could just buy one with the money. Sorry.
It's okay, Rufa whispered.
The money you're helping me spend?
Woodward scratched his beard. Something then fell out of it.
Oh, right.
Woodward offered.
We could buy you that wagon, couple of horses to match it too.
Oh, wonderful, the director said. How many weeks to plan the fundraise? But before they could finish their question, Rufa, Woodward, and Mush were already gone. They returned a few moments later in a gilded 12-person wagon led by two white Clydesdales. The Arts District was the trio's next stop. They purchased a new dance costume for Rufa, a miniature hooch distillery made of elvish crystal, had tunics painted of Rufa, Woodward, and Mush howling together at the moon, and they visited the shoe shiner 4 times, even though only one of them actually wore shoes. In all, they spent 20 gold coins in the merchant district.
This isn't working,
Rufus said, looking into his bag. It was almost as full as when they started.
At this rate, we'll never get rid of these coins by sundown.
Woodward perked up at hearing this.
Sundown?
He asked.
I thought you said we was on 24-hour deal.
Rufus said, shuffling his feet.
I did say that, but that was 24 hours from when I received them last night.
While you were on your date?
Woodward said.
Rendezvous!
Rufus chided. Woodward looked around the street. He scanned all the merchant stalls and tents, seeing the variety of people and animals and wagons that filled a busy city like Alphon Prime. His eyes met Mush's. Mush's eyes met his.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Woodward asked. If a badger could shrug, then Mush shrugged. He turned to Ruva, who was casually reviewing the deed and contract for Bun Boys Bun Sellers LLC.
Hey, Rufa, give me that bag.
Woodward commanded. Rufa handed it to him, and Woodward ran off. Rufa and Mush, they ran after him.
Hey, friend, when will you let me in on this plan?
Rufa called out between breaths. Woodward stopped at the largest wagon on the strip. He handed the owner a fistful of coins and jumped in.
You know how to drive one of these things?
He called to Rufa. Rufa raised his hands in defeat.
I wouldn't dare drive a coach, friend,
he said. Woodward motioned him and Mush aboard.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
He took up the reins and cracked the horses to action. The wagon jolted forward, and the animals sped them through Alphon Prime's narrow paths.
So, what are you planning?
Rufa called out, laughing from the exhilaration of speeding through the busy thoroughfare. The horses were surprisingly conscious of those around them, weaving and dodging in the crowd without being asked. Woodward was laughing too.
You'll find out soon enough.
The wheels clacked down the cobblestone street, now running in parallel to the river Prime.
And here comes the Coupe de Grace.
Woodward shouted.
I think you mean coup de grace, my friend.
Rufa replied.
Nah, Coupe de Grace. Grace was the biggest chicken we ever raised. Had to build her own coop. Wasn't nothing like it.
Woodward pointed behind the wagon. 2 city guards on horseback were giving chase. One of them pulled up to the side of the wagon to flag down the driver. Woodward waved right back.
You fellers know how to stop one of these things?
He called out. The guard grabbed the horse's reins and slowed it to a stop. Then he rid the trio of their rights. They were charged with reckless endangerment, speeding, unauthorized commercial wagon and non-commercial zone, and accessory to bumpkinness. The guards led them to a stone jail 2 blocks away. Rufa moaned in distress as the cell door clinked behind him.
Oh, how are we ever gonna get out of this?
He cried.
It's almost sundown, and we're gonna be stuck in jail.
Woodward smiled. Though they were shackled to each other, he attempted to put his arms around Rufa.
Don't worry, buddy. Watch this. Hey, jailer man.
The remaining guard looked up from a desk near the cell. He was trying to look busy, but Rufa could see he was reading the latest issue of Tabaxi Fancy. Woodward motioned the guard to come over.
Say, you have a way for people to pay for their transgressions and remove themselves from the indignity of incarceration?
Woodward asked. The jailer nodded. Yeah, it's called bail.
And would this here about cover it?
Woodward produced the satchel with the remaining coins. They shined in the reflection of the jailer's eyes. His mouth curled into a grin. He slipped his arm through the bars, and Woodward handed him the bag. He unlocked the cell door and said, "You were never here." Woodward, Rufa, and Mush stepped out of the burgeoning twilight. The stars poked through a purple sky and settled a calm pallor over the city.
I'll hand it to you, my friend.
Rufa said.
Freedom never felt this good. And that was some quick thinking getting us arrested. That giving the money to a crooked law enforcement official, he'll never reveal where he got that.
Woodward looked at Mush, who, once again, would have shrugged if he could.
That wasn't my plan.
Woodward said.
I was going to jump off and toss the bag in this here river. But yeah, I guess you could say it all worked out in the end.
They walked down the thoroughfare back to Adolphon Public House number 1. Armed with a story they now realized that they could never tell anyone about. As they approached the door, Rufa felt something jingle in his pocket.
Oh no, I forgot about these,
he said as they entered. He withdrew the 5 coins that he first showed Woodward that morning.
I guess the hooch is on you, friend.
Woodward smiled. And that has been Woofa's Millions from Brian Mahoney, who you can find on Instagram as the Type and Pint.
Oh, I love that so much.
So
Wow.
well
wholesome.
done.
So
That was
wholesome.
so good.
It's so good. And the thing, okay, the part that I love about it is it. I leave it up to the rest of the viewers for it to be canon or not. In the simple fact that Rufa and Woodward can't talk about it. There's nothing we can't say anything about it. It is as likely true as it is unlikely.
I
love
really
that.
want this to be true.
Yeah, I
I
know.
really
Me
do
too.
want to make
So
this
bad.
canon.
Reap
So
Psych says 1000% canon, so
Yeah,
I'm
why not?
Mm.
Because
Oh,
one of the things I really loved about this is he was able to get the cadence, the mannerisms of both Woodward and Rufa down, like even
Yeah.
how they talk.
I think
Mhm.
honestly the thing that sums up both characters and their interaction is the coup de grace. I think you mean coup de grace. It was like that was like done. Well, you've settled it. You've got both characters down.
Yeah, the minute you're like, nope, Coop to Grace. Grace was the biggest chicken we ever had. Ain't nothing like it. I was like, that is hilarious and brilliant.
I really like because as we were playing our past 10 games, I was trying to figure out okay, the relationships of Rufa with the other characters, and honestly this kind of confirmed it. His relationship with Woodward is basically the odd couple.
It totally is. It very much is. And that's one of the I think that's the fun of playing off it is if they can remain on each other's good sides, even though they'll drive each other nuts from one moment or the next, there's nothing they can't get through if both of them are on it. With Rufus High Society and Woodward's like everyday man kind of personality, there's this beautiful balance of being able to just glide through everything.
Definitely.
I love it. I love it.
I will say though, I also love just in general, I love all you guys, but I love how you have Rufus High Society, Woodward's like boots on the ground, like salt of the earth. You have Shionibis is like, I hate to swear, but like her bad bitch attitude. She's like, whatever, you can't kill me. Even though I've tried like 5 times.
It's a superpower. What can I say?
Yeah. Also, you have like Sidney is like, ain't no one gonna die on my watch, even though I tried like 5 times.
I want that to be a thing. You're like, well, I tried to kill you, but you were lucky, I guess.
But this girl keeps coming around and saving you. I don't get it.
I would like to think that Alona doesn't know it, but saving Shonibis, who clearly some gods have it just after her, now like there's this rivalry in between omnipotent powers and Ilona, the cloistered cleric, like in the other corner that just can't get around.
It's like, okay,
like the gods. Go ahead, Sidney.
No, you go.
Okay. I feel like the gods are up there like placing bets, like, all right, my turn, here we go. And someone else is like, it ain't gonna happen, bro. And then they're just like throwing money at each other. Like, I'll trade you this servant for that one. And so they like trade.
Oh, that's cold.
What I love is that while this has been going on, Malice just posted, don't worry, PJ, she still hasn't gotten the finger yet.
Yet. It's happening.
Yet, indeed.
Honestly.
I love it. And the best thing about us being a chill stream is that I can go pee whenever I need to. So I'll be right back. You guys keep talking. Oh, and make sure you guys vote because I see like 1 vote each. Maybe I need to refresh the vote, but I'll be right back. Make sure to vote.
I can
also,
vote.
Shemp Jenkins wants it to be canon, but Reap Psych brought up a really good point that like it means if that's canon that Dominus is guilty of campaign fraud, but then Mahooch came in and was like, Dominus did not ask for the money. He found out it was all ill-gotten in the first place, so he just wanted to get rid of it. And that's a good, we're going to go with that.
And I also want to put this out. I do really, really love Brewster's Billions, the movie. The best version, Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor's best version.
Who doesn't love Richard Pryor, though? He's so
People who are wrong. That's who.
Automatic just wrong.
Yeah.
I really do like the fact that over all of this, I think, like, through the entire story, Rufa, there's a Rufa with that amount of money is kind of like somebody who's already experienced high society wouldn't know what to do. Like, we go, okay, I don't know what I would spend this on. And the beautiful part, the first thing he does is charity. We're going to figure out how to do, like, Rufa is like the high society good guy, which we all need at this point of like, oh no, we'll figure with orphanage. Let's go with an orphanage.
I wouldn't necessarily say that was why he decided orphanage. He probably thought orphanage, that's the easiest way to get rid of money.
Yeah.
But Rufa does have a heart, because at the bun stall, when Woodward didn't have any money, Rufa went and bought Woodward those buns. And that's how this whole thing got started. So he does have a...
Bun
Rufa
bros.
just really has a place in his heart, and he just wants people to eat good.
True,
That's what
true.
it comes down to.
True. As I say, Rufa, like when I built the character, at his core, I always saw him as kind of a teacher, hence dance instructor.
Totally. I think that makes up a good point for your character, though, because as even so far as we've gone, which like this story just started, but from what we've seen of everyone's character, is there's a small points that we're going to be introduced to later, and I think Rufa, you've actually made a really strong standpoint on your character in the fact that every single time you brought something up, you've always been willing to debate it. Rufa's always like, okay, like, let's put this out here. This is what I think we should do. And anybody else brings something up, you go, good point. It's that very much like the back and forth teacher that everybody wants, instead of a, no, that's not how you do it. It's very much okay, we'll hear it out.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I kind of want to give a shout out to both me and PJ's one of our friends. I think Ian and Kylie might know him as well. Ryan Omega.
Yeah, totally.
Ryan.
One of the things that I've learned from him through Blank Slate and doing the live action role playing stuff is, and then. I feel that's very, very important, especially in games like this. Never go a solid yes or no. Always go, okay, and then this is how we'll do it. But if you have something to add to it, we'll continue that route.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. Growing up doing a lot of acting and improv, I found that first of all, anyone who wants to play any tabletop RPG or do a show like this, understand that acting and improv training is never necessary to have a good time. It is, if anything, just a fun tool to tap into to see what crazy things you can do in a game like this. But when I was learning all this, one of the things I learned was having yes and or no and. So if you're like, okay, well, my character wouldn't like that, then it doesn't make any sense for you to say yes. But if you are going to say no to something, offer a side solution, another solution. You know, like if you're at a table, let's say, and you have a warlock and a paladin arguing, or in this case, a paladin and a sorcerer arguing over like what you're going to be doing or whatever, then if you're going to fight, that's cool. PvP to small degrees is never a bad thing. But if it's going to get really big, that's got to be agreed upon by the players ahead of time. Consent is a huge thing. Make sure you're telling a story and not just like, well, I don't like you in real life, Jeremy. And Jeremy's like, why? What did I ever do wrong? But it's important to yes and a no and. And it's very, very important as a character, too. Play with your DM. Play with your reality. Say yes to dumb ideas and then hope you roll very well. Or say no to dumb ideas and then find another way to have an idea with that NPC. Or also have a cat. I don't know what the cat's doing, but...
I know, I saw the cat and I was like, oh, we have a kitty on stream.
I miss my kitty. Her name is Simon. I miss Princess Simon.
Oh, cute. What's your cat's name, Kylie? I forget.
Lucy. It's short for Lucifer because she is the spawn of Satan.
Right. I forget.
Trigger Chin 89.
Fun fact, I fostered all of her 11 kittens.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Wow.
I got to name all of them. I was like, in 4th grade, so I had like dumb names, but it's fine.
That's cute.
Newest question from Nat 20 Productions. What is the dumbest name you ever named an animal? I will give you all of my dumb names because they were all bad. There was Sugar. There was Coco. There was Century. There was Toby. That's not at all relevant. Hold on. There was another dumb one. What did I name one?
My first 2 fish were named Sippy and Suppy.
Sippy and Suppy. That's so cute.
They were 2 goldfish.
I can tell you the best name I've ever named an animal, and it happened to be one of her kittens. It was Captain Jack Sparrow, because he would hide behind a corner and wait for one of the siblings to come around, and then wait till they pass, and then sneak up, and then just like get them. I was like,
Nice.
So did you ever Did you ever look at your cat and be like, "This was the day you almost got away with that," and the cat would be like, "Meow," but you've heard of me.
I had
how did you know that conversation happened, PJ? It's like you were there.
I was like, just like
back in the day, I was actually part of. Back in the day, I was actually part of the FFA. For those who don't know, that's the Future Farmers of America. It was either take that course or take chemistry. Yeah,
I did that too.
But I had they had me raise a sheep that I called Satan. It was a jerk, and it broke my toe by stepping on it.
It broke your toe?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Dude, it was a goat or a
no, a
sheep. That sheep was a dick. I don't care what anyone says. I hate him.
So
that's why we call it Satan.
I can't say that I've actually named any. My little sister has named most of the animals that we've actually had, but my best friend Daniel, his niece, named the cat that they got, and she was 4 years old. And one of the only words that she was very familiar with, or as 4-year-olds tend to do, they get stuck on one word at a time. That is how I met the cat Seagull, and from there on out, it was taking care when I was over at Daniel's house, was petting Seagull and feeding Seagull, and the little 4-year-old would run around very, very ecstatic at the time about seeing Seagull. And it took me probably 2 visits over to his house to figure out that they were talking about the cat. I thought it was a 4-year-old being a 4-year-old, and Daniel was like, "No, that's the word she decided to use for the cat's name." And it's probably one of my favorite pet stories ever.
I love that. Let's call out some of these pet. All right, so Reap Sykes' first dog name was Sugar, and she never stopped running.
Mm-hmm.
That's fitting. Keywork, Alana's hamster is named Gordon Hamsey.
I love that.
That one wins. That one wins hands down.
Yes.
Hands down.
Mahooch had a goldfish named Boris Kubert Sassafras the 23rd.
The 23rd?
Kubert.
That is on par for Brian.
Oh
that checks out.
Trigger Chan 89 said she had pets named Simon and Garfunkel, which I love those guys.
Good.
So
I love
that's fair. And then Shemp Jenkins said Mahooch also had a fish named Bananarama.
Oh.
I love that.
Oh, hands down. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, they found I don't know
That's
if you
so
mentioned
cute.
this already, but they mentioned the Scotty they found on the freeway. Oh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Reap Sykes said that his aunt found a dog outside of Brent's Deli and named it Brent.
Aw.
I kind of like that though, because
Yeah.
that has that's got meaning behind it.
That's exactly it. I will commit, if I ever find a dog on the street and I get to take it home, I will look up from wherever I found it and name it after something I see. Streetlight be damned. The new dog Streetlight.
I was gonna say, God forbid you find it in front of a strip club, because that will give you some unusual names.
Yeah.
So this is a segment that we like to call Edge of Pets.
Edge of Pets. Pets of Legend.
Pets of Legend!
Pets of Legend.
Pets of Legend.
Oh my gosh.
So at one point, and I really, this is me secretly wanting to see this, so forgive me for this, but Ian and I had a campaign one time where he played a druid cavalier.
Yes.
who had a mount who was a snow bison named Snivier. And what I loved about this campaign was that I was a swashbuckler magus who was basically based off the guys from Road to El Dorado with like the accent of the most interesting man in the world. And I will never play this character on stream because I feel like that accent is horribly offensive. But what was great about this is that Snivier's roles were godly, and Snivier would get all the kills. Snivier would like dexterously disarm all the fireball traps.
Yes,
He would dodge all the spells.
Yes, you are completely correct. Snevier did roll the highest stealth check out of the entire party, including beating the rogue as a yak. Yeah, that's just how the dice happened. And it was honestly, as soon as I played a druid, when we were talking about our party and setting it all up and figuring out what everyone else played, I immediately told PJ, I'm like, I'm up for anything. I'll figure it all out. I have an idea for every single class. And when a druid came up, I was like, oh, mush shall be my ode to my long lost yak. And again, they are mighty. Mush is mighty as well. I have a tendency to roll better for my animal companions than my actual character. My character turns out to be a suffer puppet at some point, and the badass is actually the animal companion.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like Mush, like tightening a black belt and then just like going ham on a bunch of dudes.
Oh, I started reading some of the stuff that I can do as a druid with the animal path. The fact that I personally don't have to take feats. I can give my feats instead to my animal companion. Woodward may be a little bit one note, but eventually this party will have a barbarian, whether they like it or not.
So is Woodward a Pokemon trainer?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a little bit of part of that. Why he would love to collect all the different woodland creatures. He's always got his standby Woodwardachu. Mushachu.
Mushachu.
Yeah. Who will always be with him.
Nice.
Guys, Malice 1974 just said furry of blows.
Furry of blows. Malice, congratulations. You've earned a hero point. If you are playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition at any game from now on and your GM calls into question, I will fight them. You get a hero point.
Could I put out two things? There's two things I want to put out right now. One, if we ever do a charity stream, can we do a charity stream for rescues?
Sure,
that would be
absolutely.
Great.
I would love to do one. Yeah.
I have so many in mind.
Yes.
Bush and friends.
And my second thing is I forgot.
Your second thing is you forgot.
Yeah, I was waiting on this for a while. I was like, wait, crap.
That's
well,
okay.
I'll say this. Oh yeah, yes, Sidney, go ahead.
No, I had a point that I wanted to bring up after your point, so you go.
No, that's okay. I can wait. I talk a lot. You're fine.
Well, that's why you're the perfect GM, because you describe things so beautifully. And when we don't know what to do, you're like, all right. And it's great, because sometimes we don't know what to do.
We don't know what to do.
There are times where I'm like, this amazing thing happens, and I'm like, what do you do? And it's dead sad. I'm like, oops, I think I goofed.
We're like, big oop. But what I was going to say is I wanted to talk about fan fiction again, because while we didn't necessarily get any submissions for Larian and Shionibus, I want to talk to Kylie about what I think a fanfic of Larian and Shionibus would be.
Ooh, I want to hear this.
Okay.
I see.
So I feel like, and I don't know this, but I feel like Larian and Shionibus is not canon. This is how I feel. Larian and Shionibus maybe like had an affair, like when they were working in the Ulfgard company together, and then it got too serious, and that's when she stole his boat and burned it.
Got too spicy. She was like, bye.
And the scene that I'm picturing is just him, because we left him in that river
In the
for
papoose?
so long. And he's just laying there, and he's like thinking about how you stole his boat and burned it. Like he's thinking like, it was really nice to see Shiona this again, you know, like maybe I've been too hard on her. And then he remembers that you literally burned his only way of making money and livelihood. And he's like, no, fuck her. Never mind.
I just realized something. What if Chonibus's version of flirting is burning a boat?
Oh my God!
Just like her feelings, she sinks them deep, deep down.
Yes.
She's sitting there like, this is a cute ship, isn't it? Oh man, it'd be really awesome. This ship actually went somewhere. I'm gonna sink it. I'm gonna sink that ship.
Oh my God, Chonibus is a cat. She's like, oh, it's a glass of water.
Guys, no.
Yeah.
She sinks her own ships.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh
Ian
my
gets it.
I like it.
God!
That's what I was saying. It'd be nice if this ship worked, huh? It'd be nice if this ship went somewhere.
Oh.
I'm gonna sink it.
Yep. You were on it, PJ.
I'm
I
listening.
was off it.
Yeah. By the way, Malice, I love that you said they have an idea about a campaign about familiars trying to escape from their masters. I think that could be really interesting, especially for nothing else than to play with the horrible stats that familiars always get.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know if anybody out there are familiar with this, but there was a comic book series called Beasts of Burden, where basically it's the house pets of the neighborhood, and they go on adventures and everything.
Oh, that sounds
Is that
really
like
cute.
Pets the movie?
Kinda, but a little bit more graphic and kind of in the art style of Hellboy.
Interesting. I have one.
Oh,
And now I don't know if you've noticed from the fact that the first major story arc in this game is basically a world war. I like politics in my D&D. And I promise if you don't at home, don't worry. Keep hanging in through the kick-ass war story we're about to tell. Eventually it'll become a lot more fantasy, a lot less war politics stuff. But I listen to Sabaton a lot, so what do you want to do? But I had this idea. What if you tell a story all about familiars and animals from a druid or whatever, and you retell Animal Farm with magic and familiars?
Oh, I just had a thought.
Yeah.
What if, like, in between games or something, Mush meets friends, and there's a little adventure that Mush and his animal friends go on when they're in between like rests with the parties.
So it's
I
like
love
when
that.
Momo and Appa go on their own little adventures.
Yeah.
Yes!
I'm
Yeah.
down
So-
for that.
Side note, what element would we like? Who would we be as characters as
Ooh.
Avatar: The Last Airbender?
You mean
Chat,
I'm-
let me know.
as-
I'm really curious now.
like as people or as characters?
As characters.
Oh, Shiona is fire.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Yo, it
Shonen
was
has gotta
fire,
be
yeah.
Fire Nation.
You set a ship on fire!
Yeah.
I did not set it on fire. I sunk it.
Yeah,
There's
to
a
be fair,
difference.
we only know she
That's
sunk the ship.
true.
We don't know if it was
You
on
destroyed
fire.
a ship.
Okay, maybe that's me
I sunk it.
projecting that you're what's that guy from She-Ra?
He-Man?
Oh my god.
She-Ra?
I watched
have
She-Ra.
not seen
Wait,
all of
who?
it.
The guy who dates Mermista.
Oh my god. Is it Skyhawk?
Seahawk!
Something Seahawk, that's what it is. I was so
I'm
close.
projecting Seahawk onto you. Guys, and She-Ra.
But she's not that flirty. She's not. Skyhawk, like Seahawk is like, hey, how you doing? And Shonibus is like, ew, don't touch me.
That's true. You're more like, all right, so you have like, you never mind. You're Mermista.
So, chat wanted to know if you were like trying to say we are a specific character from Avatar or like a specific nation from Avatar.
Nation.
Let's do both. Why not both?
Both.
Oh,
Okay, no, los dos.
Both.
Yes.
Both is good.
Do we also open that to Legend of Korra too?
Sure,
Ooh,
absolutely.
I've
I'm
not
not as
seen
familiar with
that.
Legend of Korra's like world building. I know a little
Same.
bit about it, but I don't know much about it.
I know there's
And-
metal then. Or-
And this goes with like metal bending, blood bending, sand bending, all of the elements. We're doing everything, not just earth, water, air, fire.
you're like,
need
those
them
are boring. I'm bored of
subcategories.
those now.
Oh,
Them subcategories.
I just remembered what I was gonna say earlier.
Oh yeah.
So before I forget, because I know in the pregame, a couple of us were when we were designing our characters kind of went through different iterations, versions. I know my character I think my character changed the most
Oh yeah.
in between the games. But I also want to know what were the different characters that Ian was going to make before he finally settled on Woodward.
Oh,
because you said you had like different versions of characters.
Okay, so let's do the Bender deal to make sure we wrap all that up, and then I'm sure one of the characters I have at this point will turn into something else, into another part of the conversation.
Continue, please. Sorry.
I stand by. If I could, I would make Mush an Earthbender, and I definitely want Woodward to just be Sokka. Like, I just want him running around the entire time with like a super powerful badger. That's my end game, is like god potential badger, and I'm a druid sometimes.
Oh my god!
And that guy,
the badger becomes a god, and you're the demigod.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I was his first disciple. I'm on top.
I was here first.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the avatar of Mush, the badger of Much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Reaped Psych said, Shionibus reminds me of Lin Beifong.
Oh my god.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
She's just like super like.
But
I'm a badass.
Because back to what we were saying before that, also, I know in the pre-games, this is kind of an interesting tidbit for the audience might want to know. Rufa wasn't actually gonna be an investigator.
Yeah, it's true. He was a monk, right?
Yeah, Rufa was actually a monk. He was actually I based the monk off of Uncle from Jackie Chan Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was also like Uncle Iroh.
Yeah.
At one point when we were in pre-production, just because I feel like it needs to be said, Woodward was a lot more chaotic neutral at one point. Like more so. I remember at one point we were doing a pre-production game to kind of see how everything was going to work. And Ian's character, I cannot hear how you play that character without imagining him having this long white beard to his feet and no clothes, running around with a stick, just shouting obscenities and random insanities. I think at one point when we were fighting something, you ran the opposite direction, shouting. I don't know. Please, Ian, describe.
Yeah. So, Woodward's original iteration was actually a cross with another idea I had, bringing that around, was a wizard that I was going to play named Jim Jam. And he was basically he's a conjuration wizard. And everything that he would conjure would come out of his backpack, and he thought his backpack was magical. He didn't realize he was a wizard. So I was playing this entire character, and I realized that maybe somebody else wants to play wizard. So then I combined the two into this druid who was supposed to end up running around with this stick, who he thought was magical, but it turns out that it's just the druid staff. So Woodward in the beginning was Jim Jam with a stick rather than a backpack. And me running away from the group was specifically, we all got attacked by a horrible monster. And he didn't care so much for sticking around. So what he did is he cast dancing lights into the air, shot them in every which direction as a distraction, and then bolted into the darkness.
I want to say your battle cry was scatter or something like that. I don't remember.
It was. I ended up yelling something along the lines of "Run, run! There's a monster!" And then when I came back to the party, I'm pretty sure I could have been referring to Shionibus at the time, because she did roll a nat 20 right afterwards and took something's head off.
That's right.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where I ended up running around as scared of my own party for a while, which I would like to say I did kind of allude to in Woodward running the wrong direction at the first camp that we attacked.
That's true.
It was really hard for me not to pull back on my original want of playing Jim Jam, the Conjuration Wizard.
Honestly, Ian, that's one of my favorite clips ever, is you running back around and saying, "God damn, Mush! Rufus, you got those buns!"
I do have to say, I have to thank the rest of not only PJ but the rest of the cast in the fact that them pushing the forward story allows me to play Woodward, because if none of them were on a through line, Woodward would be useless. Like no one would like him. So I have to realize that like for all the shortcomings and the fun I have playing Woodward, I also have to thank you guys for going, hey, so there's actually senators we have to talk to, and I get to have my panic attack in front of a city sign. So thank you all for allowing me to play Woodward.
Of
Well, I
course.
think all the characters, they kind of fulfill, they kind of cover a weakness that another character has.
Yeah,
I would
totally.
agree. I would 10,000% agree. Like when Woodward and Shunibus had that really deep conversation about Morel, and yeah, you're going like this, you're hiding yourself, you almost killed him.
My bad.
And he was like, you're kind of the leader. And she's like, uh-oh, no, I don't like that at all.
I stand by that.
I think so
I stand
too.
by it. I looked at the rest of the party and I see Rufa, and it's like, okay, Rufa's smart, but he's too smart for his own good at times.
He's the adult.
Yeah, exactly. We need the moderator of the group to go, okay, guys, we all know that's a bad idea. We'll do it, but I want everyone to acknowledge it's a bad idea.
It's always a bad idea.
It's hard because then you have Ilona, who is book smart. She knows a lot, but there's the point of applying the book to real life that only experience can give you.
Right.
And
she a baby.
Yeah, and if anybody has that experience, it has to be Shionibus, because Woodward has shut himself out from society. He's missed an entire portion of the world, and he's done so on purpose. And I know somebody mentioned, I think it was Keyword Calamity, mentioned they would like to run a campaign about how the familiars, or sorry, the animal companions met their friends. I don't know, the word master was used, but I just feel like that doesn't kind of fit with the animal companion, since the word companion is used.
They're assisted.
Yeah, something along those lines. He shut himself out, and his best friend is something that can't talk back to him. Shionibus has spent thousands of years on this planet, has gone through it all, and whatever she's learned, she's had the time to apply to real life. So she's just got to be the leader. And I think my favorite part about that moment is the fact that I don't think Kylie at that stage had thought through exactly where Shionibus fit in the party. So it was this back and forth of like, this is a real character moment, telling Kylie what role Shionibus has to fulfill for the rest of this campaign.
Oh my god, that scared me so much. I was like, oh no, it's like hurting cats. Like, the thing about Shionibus is she's lived over 2,000 years. She's been through a lot, as you guys saw when certain name was brought up last episode, and it kind of shook PJ. Yeah, it really kind of shook her to the core a little, because she hadn't heard that name in like a good 500 years, and it brings her back to who she was, which she doesn't want at all. And I'm super excited for you guys to kind of piece together her backstory and see who she really is, because leader is someone she doesn't want to be. She knows this is a role she needs to fulfill, but she doesn't want to, and scared of what happened to the person PJ mentioned will happen to everyone else as well.
I think it's been said by better women and men than I. The best leaders are those who don't want to be. And so I think that's the thing, is you've kind of set yourself up for the position that she's going to take at this point.
Yeah.
Does that mean Shionibus is Jon Snow?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she knows a lot more than nothing.
That's true. What were you saying, PJ?
She already has died and come back.
Yeah, at least
multiple times.
5 times.
So I feel like I'm more Dean Winchester than Jon Snow. I'm just saying.
I will accept this. I was gonna say, I think nope, lost it. Right. So the phrase that I heard was great are those who have greatness thrust upon them. And I think whether it's Kylie or Shionibus, you're both in this position right now where you are surrounded by people who are either relying upon you or waiting for the word go. And now the opportunity to rise up. And I think also every one of these players is just looking for, there's going to be a moment where you specifically will be called to rise up. I'm not saying Rufa's only call to action is going to be a rendezvous, but, that was at least one.
It was so good. That date, guys. That date, I was biting my nails the entire time through that thing. I was like, oh my God.
You guys were close, though. You guys were so close. I'm looking at the numbers going like, oh my God. Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it?
That was on it. That was very much a cliffhanger point for us as a cast. Yeah, and definitely. That's one of the things I had to write in. So putting together the recap was one of those things where I was like, both characters and players were waiting on like bated breath for that moment of going, what's going to happen? I have no idea which direction this went. It feels like it went just as good as it went bad.
Basically.
I also want to point out that one thing that something that you said actually, Ian, about the different types of smarts with our current group right now. I see Rufa and Ilona, they're the book smart people, while Woodward and Chonibus, they're the street smart people.
Yeah, and I think some of that comes down to the fact that we got lucky in the fact that Shionibus has had so much of her life to understand the city and the different places that she can visit that although none of us would like to admit it, all politics are the same no matter where you enter. And what you go through is there's going to be parts that she can get through and work through better than others, especially Woodward. But the other side of things is Woodward, I feel, as much as Shionibus can talk to a person of the city, Woodward can talk to the farmhand. And that gives us a very distinct advantage. And I think a lot of people look to a party of characters, as their individual pieces of what they put forward of, I am the righteous champion of so-and-so to fight this thing. And I am, you look for those, how they can work together. And I think what it is honestly a beautiful song that I love. One of the lyrics is, battles are won through shield and sword, but in the end, they're won by bards who win our hearts.
Yeah.
And it's basically like writing history. And I think the fact that the four of us can each encompass a section of society is the fact that it's why the party itself is going to succeed.
I think it also opens up this unusual... I'm sorry, Michael, I didn't mean to cut you off. Why don't you say your thing and I'll say my thing next.
Okay. I was going to say really quick, like Ian, like you said, Woodward, he's the working class farmers, the working class people. And when we have Ilona, who's could honestly academics and people and the church and basically the learned people, and then we have Chonibus, who could talk to the warriors, the fighters, basically people who want to stab the S word out of things.
We have that in common,
Yeah. And then, you know what? I'm going to say this, Rufa, he's the high society guy. Yeah. So we cover every different class of society right here.
Completely agree.
Yeah. And so what I was going to say is that I guess maybe there's a little bit of a look behind the curtain, but we are looking and considering about potentially having a fifth person join us. Well, I should say a fifth player.
Fifth ranger.
A fifth ranger. That's right. We're looking for our Tommy. Now, again, that day may never happen. We're not in a rush. I think right now we are able to tell, especially in the past 2 games, better, concise, and stronger stories, and we're having great moments being shared. But we're all looking, so if that happens. But what's great is that fifth person is going to come in here with all the role-playing freedom to kind of present. There we go. Any walk of life. You know, we have high society, low society. We have the religious devout, and we have the kind of by any means necessary. So now whatever shows up is just they get the freedom of, oh, I'll just do whatever I want then. I'll be a clown.
Actually,
Why you gotta do that to me, PJ? I don't understand.
Because I have a sadistic side and now I know a weakness.
Actually, I have a question for Sidney and Kai. Hopefully, well, I asked Sidney right now.
What's up?
And we'll wait for Kai to get back. But Sidney, if you weren't playing Alona, what character would you be playing instead in this game? It's kind of I'm actually really curious about that.
That's a good question. That's a really good question, especially because Alona was the only character I made for this game.
Mhm.
PJ and I spent so much time writing down and building the world, and I immediately came up with Alona. I don't know how I came up with Alona. I just remember one day she was just kind of there. So that's interesting because I haven't thought about another character that I would like to play in this world. Because I guess maybe if I had a choice, I mean, there's so many gods, guys, the Pantheon is so cool. And that's a great question. I think honestly, if I had to choose a different character, I would probably choose a Dragonborn and worship one of the dragon gods, because the dragon gods, they're kind of my favorite. They're the first thing that I wrote with PJ, and we had a really good time that first writing session working on them, and so I think I'd probably be a champion of one of the dragon gods. And
So there's actually Dragonborn in this world?
Well, Dragonborn, I don't know, not so yet. I can definitely
No.
fluff and flavor them, but Paizo has yet to release a dragon person,
Maybe
and
kobolds?
you can maybe
That's the
argue
closest one
kobolds.
that Pathfinder really has to Dragonborn is really the kobolds, which in the Advanced Player's Guide, if you read it, they actually made kobolds not useless.
Finally.
Kobolds could spit fire if they want to.
Oh, that's kind of cool,
That's cool.
actually.
Yeah.
in this aspect, I'm using Dragonborn in the very specific way that we built the dragon gods.
Mhm.
The people who worship the dragons have a very, very interesting relationship with their gods. And we'll get into that later. I don't want to spoil anything. But it's like really freaking cool. And I think I'd probably follow one of those because I like, in my other game that I play, I like being just a big person who smashy stuff. So while I love strategy and the book smarts and all of that, I also just have a complete opposite side where I just want to like break things. So I'd probably,
I'm the same. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you and I, Kylie, are like this two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and I think that's why we get along so well. But yeah, if I were to play a different character, probably I would have to worship one of the dragon gods and be a big smashy buff lady because I want to play big smashy buff ladies.
Yeah.
I want to be a buff lady.
Well, a few things. God forbid if we ever have to lose Alona, you can always play a big smashy buff lady. I don't know if you noticed, but PJ likes big smashy buff ladies. You're gonna find us spattering them throughout the game. Yeah,
Yes.
I think everyone likes a good, strong, smashy buff lady. So they're talking about in the chat about getting in on some meme action. And I'm seeing a request for dragon riders. Maybe that'll happen. But right now, we do know for sure there is a group of orcs that are griffin riders, the Red Rock tribe. That's one of their specialties is riding war griffins.
And there's two.
Are there any left?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
definitely
that
two
sounds like-
left.
There's
My bad.
they're around.
At least two. But
Well-
Kylie, what about you? If you weren't playing Chonobus, like what kind of character would you be playing instead in this game?
I gotta go with Sidney on this one. Like, I like the idea. I don't know if I'd be good at it, but I like the idea of playing like the tank. I think I'd probably be like a half orc, or maybe even a full orc. I kind of have some ideas. This was an idea I had way after I made Shionabis, because of course Pinterest gives me so many ideas with their character art. I really wanted to do like a half orc, like swashbuckler.
Okay.
And kind of play off that.
That's really cool.
Right? I was like, I feel like it's unique. And though as I'm watching more Critical Role, I was like, oh, never mind. I feel like it's like
I get caught up on the fact that I think this is probably the first time in like moving forward with a big D&D campaign, I've played a character that is somewhat chaotic in any sense of the word. Like the ideas I had, surprisingly enough, was Woodwort, Jim Jam, and then the Ranger that I was going to play that actually never got mentioned, or never got named either, was supposed to basically be a Boy Scout. Was like 13 or 14 years old, but knew how to get everybody through the woods. And was looking one day to actually be a ranger. And so it's this weird thing of like, I feel like maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but every one of us, all of us, and the reason that these characters are so memorable for us is that we've all kind of stepped out of one range of our comfort zone. Like Sidney was saying, is like, I like playing the tank. And then you take one step out of that and you're like, oh, I'm a cleric, and it's just that one step doesn't seem like much at first, but then when you're spending time with a character over 10 different sessions, and you realize, oh, that's a bigger leap than you think it is.
That's a good point. It is.
And I will say, I remember that Dwarven Ranger because at the time when we were in pre-production, we were talking to some of the other players, and like one's like, well, maybe I want to be a Ranger. And then I went to Ian, and I'm like, what do you play? He's like, I want to be this Dwarven Ranger. And the cool thing about the Dwarven Ranger was that it forced me to sit down and create the entire Dwarven society and zeitgeist and what a Dwarven Ranger would even be considering. And so it was really, really cool. But that Dwarven Ranger was shelved, and the other Ranger was shelved, and then Shionabis was like, I'm a Ranger. Shut up.
I mean, honestly, maybe down the road, like campaign 3 or 4, we roll characters and just like, we kind of go off on their adventures for a little bit.
Maybe. Totally. Well, the one thing we've seen in other shows is sometimes these characters, they go away, new characters come in, and they have a campaign or two, and come and go. We will, I think, once we wrap up the first story arc, which is, and I'm thinking about even getting a whole new artwork to like say the name of it. Once we finish that very first story arc, we'll see where things are with our players. I would love to see these same 4 guys continue to save the world, story after story after story. But who knows? Maybe those stories are done. Maybe new stories have to be told with new characters. I'm here to facilitate the world and the stories that we tell, not tell them how to do it.
As long as Morel is there, Alona will be just fine.
And as long as Larian isn't, Shionabis will be fine.
Girl, I got some secrets about Larian you're gonna hate.
And as long as there's funds, Woodward will be all right.
Yeah, buns.
Shionabis and Larian have such. Oh, y'all! I don't think y'all are ready.
I'm ready. Give me the tea.
It's tea that I haven't even written up yet, but I've thought of. PJ, I do have to talk to you about it.
Yeah, send me your tea. Send me your tea. We'll discuss over coffee.
I do like the idea of Kylie just sitting, looking at her computer as she's writing this, just angry at what Larian Voss has done to Shionabis, and everyone else is fine, just going about their day. She's like, this guy, he sucks. And like, typing.
It's just, I hate him. Just repeated over and over and over.
This guy, the worst.
Meanwhile, Larian, zero cares. Just, I'm going to make money. I'm going to be a Viking. Screw you.
But they're such polar opposites. And guys, I don't know if you're ready for any of this because like Shionibus doesn't really know Larian as well as she'd like to think she does. And I don't think he knows her as well as he thinks he does or cares.
Am I mistaken in the fact that Larian Voss is a full elf as well, right?
He's a half elf.
He's a half elf. Okay, so, and I don't know the time spans here, but I feel like, say this campaign goes on, and over the course of the campaign, in-game, we cover several years. We'd say 10 years or something crazy like that, right? Over trying to end this world thing. It's such a short snippet of who Shionibus is, for how long her life is, that I don't know if any of us, even Larian, could really get a pinpoint on who Shionibus is.
Do you guys know her actual age? I have it written down. Hold on.
Yes.
Oh, do it. While she's doing that, I'm gonna wait for her to come back, but I want to ask the chat. If you have any other questions that you want to ask us, please write them in the chat now. You can ask us about our characters' backstories. You can, within reason, whatever the player wants to reveal. You can ask me about the world. You can ask me about different countries, gods, characters, inside stories, whatever you want to do. And I would love to have Shionibus tell me her actual age, and then I'm probably going to hit up that sweet 10-minute break.
Shionibus is 2,374 years old.
2,000. I gotta write this down. 2,373.
74.
74.
I mean, not like that 1 year difference matters at that point. Like,
No.
It's like 10 minutes
How she got to
her.
level 1.
yeah,
She's 23.
She's 23. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 23.
Cool. I
So-
love that. I love that Shionibus arguing over that 1 year is like a 5-year-old. Like, no, I'm 6 now. It's like the
I'm
day
6.
after their birthday.
And a half.
Exactly.
And a quarter.
So really fast, let's take a 10-minute break. Joe, if you can hear us, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We're going to come back at 9:53. I see some amazing questions in the chat. While we're on break, I'm going to write them down. We're going to do some more Q&A. And please, if you haven't already voted, go ahead and vote because you are changing the world that you are enjoying with us. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. We love you so much. We'll see you in 10. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. We've come back from our 10-minute break. Thank you so much. We definitely saw your questions in the chat. And yes, I have been keeping my eyes on this Twitch picks because that's important because that will definitely show up in the world. So while we were on our 10-minute break, we got a few questions from the audience, and I'm going to go over these, and we can discuss these and talk more about it. So the one thing I saw that kept popping up is you all were hungry for more information about Felix Chance.
I want to bring up. Yeah, I want to bring up. I think I'm paraphrasing here. I think Keyword Calamity wants to know what Ian's new character Felix Chance is like.
Oh, right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, specifically in that order.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Who is Felix Chance and how will Ian play him from here on out?
Right. So I guess what it really comes down to is Ian, roll 4d6, keep the highest 3, and we're going to keep doing that until this conversation is done. So Felix Chance. Felix Chance is one of 4 siblings of luck for Kioma. Kioma is the god of luck and fortune. So you kind of have to understand the macro to understand the micro a little bit in this case. Kioma, the god of luck and fortune, is a bit of a trickster because, again, they embody that chaos that comes with whimsy. They embody that, I guess you could say, irrationality that comes with the gamble. And there's some interesting stories there. Kioma at one point actually dated Iodex, the god of law and judgment and wisdom. They were a pretty nice little pairing of 2 gods that liked each other, and canonically both men. And there was a nasty war that broke out, and that'll be a massive plot point later. But just know this. Iodex broke up with Kioma because Kioma could not let the rule stand when it came to protecting his boyfriend. Iodex was like, no. The law is what it is. You cannot save me just because you want to keep me alive. If I am to die because of the law, then I am to die because of the law. So they broke up over ideological differences. And even though they still have managed to be friends in this time, Kyoma, I think, has this part of him that's longing for a family, that thing that he kind of had with Iodex, but can't really have again. He is the reason why Rochelle was ascended from a human woman to the goddess of working ladies, wenches, and prostitutes. But when you impress a god, that's a big deal. Sometimes you are a human who ascends to godhood. Sometimes you are an entity, a thing, an event that becomes so truly outstanding, the god has to call you on to be one of their representatives in this world. If you want to think of a demigod, that kind of helps, but take out the biological factor. No one here is birth related to any deities. They have been chosen specifically by these deities. So there are 4 brothers and sisters, if you will, of Kyoma. And now enter Felix Chance. Felix Chance is one of 4 leaves of the clovers. In fact, his ring, I described as kind of being an awkward heart shape. That's actually 1/4 of a 4-leaf clover. You get all 4 rings together, they make a perfect 4-leaf clover. It's a little fun tidbit I threw in there. Felix Chance is the leaf of dumb luck. A little bit of spoilers here. You have the 4 leaves: dumb luck, good luck, bad luck, and no luck. So as the leaf of dumb luck, his entire life had been this kind of party. One moment he's an absolute destitute failure. The next minute he's on top of the world, so forth and so on. Why? Because something weird about Felix Chance just made him abnormally lucky in weird ways. And so the weird thing about him is he was not a believer in Shioma. He was not in any way a religious man, did not care about anything with the gods or the Astrogenicon, which is the knowledge of all godhood compiled into a book. So when he ascended to become the Avatar, it was only because Kyoma sat the man down in disguise and played him in 50 games of chance. He rigged each game one after the other to test this man's dumb luck. And the weirdest thing was Felix lost all the games. But what made him worthy was when he accidentally tripped and fell and found all the earnings that Kyoma took from him. It wasn't about the game. It was the stupid, unbridled luck that Felix Chance had. His blue and red eye is kind of to symbolize the different poker chips you can find at a poker table. Their different values and how different values can be anteed up at any time. Felix Chance is definitely the kind of man who embodies this idea that any kind of ante can be put up at any time. And he has to, because when Kyoma ascended him to his avatar of dumb luck, he was like, now, whether you like it or not, whether you believe in gods or not, oh, buddy boy, they believe in you. And all you got to do is man my temples, walk this earth, and make sure that dumb luck still exists. Because sometimes the only thing that keeps a hero alive when they've tried their best and failed, when they've invested hard and lost, the only thing that keeps a hero going is stupid luck. And that's Felix Chance. And he just so happens to have a little casino here in Adolphin Prime. And he probably has a casino, it's safe to say, in major chunks of the world, because the man likes money. He just happens to be bad with it, and he keeps stumbling into it.
Huh.
So now that I have a pencil and paper, what are his stats?
Okay, so as an avatar, they're all none of your business. Plus 5s to everything.
Great, good.
Reeves just said, you best start believing in God stories, laddie. You're in one.
Oh, you best start believing in God stories, laddie. You're in one.
There we go. Way better.
Yeah. All right. Also, and I should say this again, like a little look behind the curtain here. Some of Felix Chance's personality traits, and I guess you could say wrathful ire, an ironic way he goes through his wrathful ire, I based a lot on Mad Sweeney, the Fae of luck. So if you ever want to know what influences me, it's everything.
That's fair. That's
Uh,
true.
I don't know if anyone caught it, like in chat, but PJ just said a quote that he said exactly to Shionibus. And that scares me a lot.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think
I
that's
don't know
something
if
that
anyone else caught it, but
I think it's important. Yeah. And that's also kind of proof positive. Like, look this way. Shionibus, you talked to Felix Chance. You hung out with him. You had a beer with him. He is one of the four embodiments of Kyoma. If he is not proof positive that Kyoma is real and has a horrendous sense of humor, you know what I mean? Then how can there be any question about any of these gods in this world?
Yeah.
oh god, that stresses me out even more.
I'll say this. All of the gods in the Astrogenicon have avatars, multiple avatars. Some only have one, some have three. One god's avatar isn't even a person. It's a system. And
I
we'll
was gonna ask, is it a dog?
no, not exactly. Although I think the only gods that don't have avatars are the Fey gods. And if we ever do an entire campaign, the Fey realms, I would love to go into the Fey realm and the Fey gods a bit more, because the Fey gods, they're a whole bag of crazy.
I'm just gonna say Rufa is ready to lawyer up on those Fey gods.
I mean, PJ, you've met Faye.
Oh, yes,
You
I
know
have.
how crazy we are.
Yes, I do. I do indeed.
Ian, you too.
Yeah.
What's up, Calliope? She's the normal one.
I also love, by the way, Shionibus, huge props to the chat. They have your back like crazy. They're like, yeah, and by the way, Kai, you're writing all this down, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kylie's going to get emails from her insider folk in the chat.
Yeah. By the way, if anyone in the chat can save Shionibus, please do. Give her good ideas, because she made a deal with the avatar of stupid luck that falls into your lap when you least expect it. So good luck.
If anyone has an extra finger laying around, let me know.
Yeah. Right. So next question. Lore about rat folk. I saw someone in the chat ask, are rat folk a thing? Are they in Pathfinder? What's the rat folk lore in your world like? Great question. First answer to that question is Pathfinder 2nd edition, the Advanced Player's Guide, has released an entire stat block and ancestry feats, the whole gamut for rat folk. So yes, rat folk are in Pathfinder. Are they in Edge of Legend? Yes, they are, but not how you'd expect. So in this world, we have 5 major sailing cities. These are gigantic ships about the size of a small town that float through the massive waterways and kind of function as, I guess you could say, a sort of diplomatic, independent nation, constantly on the go wherever the seas take them. On one of these 5 major cities, there's a group of people that have kind of grown and festered and been brought up in the belly and brigs of these ships. These are the rat folk. Now, they are accepted to a slight degree on the top side, but because they're from the bottom bilge, their idea of what is clean and what is dirty is completely irrelevant. Their idea of art, completely intrinsic, only to them. So if you're like, this is a painting, they could look you dead in the eye and say, that's toilet paper with style. I don't care. But then conversely, they could look at, I don't know, say, roadkill in the street and go, art is all around us. Look at this amazing display. And everything is always intrinsic to the one rat. Because the thing is, when you're working on a brig, or you're working in the deep bellies of a ship, anything that brings you joy is personal and should be encouraged 1,000%. So take that to mind. You're this cute, fuzzy creature of passion, but it's weird because it's only yours. And you love to be in a group of people. But again, you have a hard time agreeing on things because everyone's entire beliefs are 1,000% just theirs. So getting along is difficult, but desired. And if you can somehow find a way to play a paladin rat folk, I would love to see that. And I would love to see you try to work so hard with a group, even though you cannot agree on what any simple function of society is.
So the rat folk are basically MacGyvers.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. You mean the 80s show, right?
Yeah, they put random assortments of stuff together that does a thing.
Yes. I think ingenuity is also a big part, but again, the ingenuity is very specific. Now, it's not like goblin science where they have found the secrets of chaos and destruction and can make a boot and a can of beans and turn it into an atom bomb. No. This is more like, I have the best solution for this plan. What is it? It is a rubber band, and only they know how this rubber band will help their situation.
I'm just now envisioning a rat folk with a mullet and wearing plaid.
Yes.
I can honestly say, after having goblin science revealed in game of how it works, and its complete layout, I realized that the orcs are the least of our issues.
Oh yeah.
Like, honestly, it's the least of our issues. The orcs, the super orcs, screw the hobgoblins, they're nothing. It's these goblins who somehow get things to work the way they shouldn't, which is horrifying.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing.
The fact that they get stuff done.
Yeah, but if they believe in it, that's the scary part. Like, if the orcs really knew what they were doing, they just got enough of the goblins in one area to believe in something.
Guys.
Yeah.
I just realized we lost Marinley.
Yeah, so I was wondering if you guys were going to figure that out.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was gonna say, so Marinley's there, you guys.
You mean she's just there the entire time, just doesn't say anything? She's up in that corner right there.
I've been
She's playing the violin in the corner for the date.
I have been planning since episode 9 exactly where Marinley is. What I have laughed internally for 2 episodes is that you're just now at a Q&A realizing Marinley is not there.
Yeah, it's hard enough to keep just the 4 of us on the same page. That having to keep, like, Morel's doing a really good job of just following us. Right? Like, I think we've all, like, from second to second, have forgot that Morel was behind us at one point or another.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
remember
And
in
then
the
he
bar?
said something, we're like, oh God.
No, remember in the bar when we were dancing and I'm like, where's Morel?
Yeah, exactly. It's things like that. They're like, we really got it. I'm gonna have to get one of those. You know what? I'll just use this wall, that flow chart of NPCs and where they are now.
A bell.
Like,
Have them wear a bell.
I can reference. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just imagining that meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where you have Mac like, where's Morel? Where's Morel? Ah!
Oh, sorry.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say, to be fair, honestly, I thought that Marinley, she was back at camp. That's what I thought. Because we never referred to her, so I was like, oh, she's probably just back at camp.
You know what's going to happen is we're going to come back out of Edelfon Prime and meet up with the rest of the Ulfgard company with their new leader. She's just going to be standing there like, and you report to who now? Like
this 12-year-old girl from Tezuku who apparently knows how to turn everything into a bomb, and she's going to be like, it's all elementary if you understand physics.
Yeah, exactly. She's going to take over the outside and hopefully be the savior of Edelfon Prime. Because so far we've danced, we had a few drinks, we went on a rendezvous. We've done absolutely nothing so far. Like, we're working on it. We've
done something. We have done something. We let them know that there is a threat, and
we worked towards it. I'm just saying, I feel like Marinley on the outside could probably gather the troops better than we can on the inside right now. Because we go out there and there's going to be a diligent force of protection outside of the city.
I'm just imagining the most amazing, breathtaking, brave little black girl with her hair in braids and pigtails up on this big dais just screaming, "You big stupid duty heads! We're going to work together, stupids!" And they're going to be like, the girl, she has a good point. We have to work together, or else, yeah, we're basically dead. Yeah, okay.
I feel like you just described one of my cousins, like one of my little cousins.
That's
so cute.
Well, that's why I invented Marenle Logorunun. I wanted her to be everyone's cousin. Like, okay, so spoiler for those at home. I love comic books. Shocker. And one of the hardest things about comic books, I know. And one of the hardest things about comic books is finding a hero that's you, that looks like you, that reminds you of you, a hero that's you, that but still you can look up to. And I understand. I think there's a quote somewhere that said like and I'm probably going to butcher or paraphrase this, but it said man must find himself in God or the community, or else he ceases to exist, right? And I believe that in every inch and step of life, there's got to be someone who looks at a comic book and says, "That's me." And I wanted this character to be that way for little black girls who, like, maybe I don't want to be super strong. Maybe what I want to be is super smart and funny and crazy and have friends and blow stuff up. You know, maybe I want to be a hero in a different way. And that's why I made Marinle Logorunun. I wanted to give the world a different hero for a different person who needs a hero, just like them. So I'm sorry. I mean that confessions.
I think you did a really good job. Like, as I know, PJ, we've discussed about characters, NPCs that we'll eventually start seeing and whatnot. And we felt like we went through a lot of discussing how things are going to go. And I have to give you credit for kind of having that diversity. And like one of the NPCs, okay, guys, this NPC that's going to come up that you're going to see, I saw her, I heard about her, I was like, I want to be this girl. Yes. Like, you want to relate to a character. And PJ, I think you did a really good job about having relating characters to yeah.
That means a lot to me. And what's important to me is that this, as much as that means to me, which is huge. Yeah. As important as it to me, what I think is also important is that this means a lot to someone else too watching this. And I'm curious, when you say the NPC, do you mean Marinle or do you mean Iyalenu? I'm butchering that name for sure.
Paladin, I want to say, that we talked about.
Yeah, Iyalenu. Iyalenu. I'm gonna say it right because I don't care. You say the name. Iyalenu Obinrin. Iyalenu Obinrin. That name will pop up. I will not say it well, but I will say it until I get it right because it deserves to be said correctly. Anyway, that's later.
She is. We haven't even met her yet, and she is my favorite already.
So, any questions before we move on to the next question I've written down, which is, are elves immortal?
One of the things I also want to bring out to Chad is if Chad has any ideas that they want of what they want to see more, we would honestly we would love to hear them. I know I would.
Yes, absolutely. As someone who is constantly trying to crunch and create stories and metaphors, and people who are exploring tough questions and embodying tough and much needed ideas. If you are watching this and go, man, I would love a character just like this, put it in the chat, message us on our Instagram, on our Twitter, on anything, please. Because worst case scenario, I don't get it exactly right, but I create a hero just for you. That being said, Keyword Calamity was asking, how do you spell such a name? Great question. This is very, very important. So, Iyalenu Obinrin. I'm going to write this in the chat and then I'm going to spell it. So, Iyalenu Obinrin. It is spelled Iyalenu. Iyalenu Obinrin. Obinrin.
That's a really beautiful name.
Yeah. And it means something, actually. But I don't want to say what it means because it might give away the character before you meet them. Should I say what it means now or should I wait until after?
I say wait.
Wait.
Do it.
I do want to say this though.
Mm-hmm.
You do this. I kind of feel you do this on purpose, just to F with me. These really difficult to pronounce names.
All right, so I'll give you a little look behind the curtain here. So there are three major, I don't say empires, but three major nations within kind of the African triumvirate, which kind of speaks to a lot of different roots of Black culture or Black American culture. And I can't speak for all of them because clearly. But so the three that we are working on and growing, and I'm constantly trying to work on growing and learning and asking people about more information. So you have the Tuzuku, and the Tuzuku really kind of embody a lot of the Southwest, South, and Southeast African tribes, and they are hundreds. And there is no way I can embody all of the hundreds of tribes within this umbrella. But the main one, and I'm going to start branching out a bit here, but the main one I decided to put my finger on is Yoruba, the Yoruban tribe. So if you want to get a better understanding of some of the Tuzuku culture, I recommend looking at the Yoruba and the Kosa. A lot of that is going to be embodied in the multifaceted cultures throughout this massive land. The other one is the Nubians, clearly from Nubia and Egypt, and our girl Shionibis is an elf from Nubia representing. And last but not least is the Mykenan. And the Mykenan really kind of focus more on the Afro-Caribbean cultures. Again, it's going to require a lot more research because there's something I want to do full justice to doing, because I feel like in America, we have kind of given it a really bad representation in Hollywood. That is mostly things like voodoo and hoodoo. And I know that I cannot begin to represent that. And I have to only research with certain people's approval. So this might take a long time before I get to Mykenan, but I would love to show the matriarchal families and the power that comes from womanhood and masculine and malehood and how you don't screw with the Loa. You don't screw with them. Don't do it. It's not good.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's so bad. Don't do it. Just be respectful. And don't talk to Baron Samedi. I know Dr. Facilier made it look good. It's not a smart idea. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it.
Yes, don't. Just don't.
I love that, especially when people mess with Ouija boards. That's exactly what comes to my head. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it.
I have this phrase I like to use when people do stuff like that. I call it white nonsense.
Well, it's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, it's a lot of nonsense.
So much nonsense.
I think no one has a monopoly on nonsense, but oh boy. Anyway, so I'm going to move on to the next question that someone asked. I believe it was, let's see here. I'm going to make sure I get it right. I want to give the credit to where it was due. I'm looking through the chat right now, so I apologize if I'm awkwardly killing time. Hey, everyone's talking about.
Don't worry, PJ. You and me together. I'll stand really close to the camera.
Thank you. Make them feel really awkward.
Good job.
Everyone is
an eyeball in there. That's what I do. One.
Let's see here. I'll find it. By God, I'll find it.
It was Malice 1974.
Thank you. Malice 1974 asking if elves are immortal. Thank you, Sidney, for reading my brain. So the correct answer to that is they are immortal. They are immortal as far as lifespan is concerned. So long as they are never shot, stabbed, burned to death, made sick, and die, they can live as long as they want until someone straight up kills them. However, they cannot reproduce. They actually come from something called a tree of life, which leads to the great pruning, and we'll get to that later. Because that's kind of a sore spot.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, it's kind of a sore spot for a lot of elves. They don't like the great pruning. They don't want to talk about it.
Human beings are trash.
Reach Psych, I do love this news. Elves are tree lobsters. Confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
We're grouchy like them too.
Oh, and I also got to give Keyword Calamity a huge prop for saying, "Won't you shake a poor sinner's hand?" My favorite line in that entire movie. Oh, so good.
He's good. My favorite villain. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, no, he's good. What I love about Dr. Facilier, if we could talk about Princess and the Frog for a second, is like, you know, he's a villain from get-go. He never lies to you. There's something self-aware and sinister, but ultimately just I don't know. I really love his mythos. Charisma. Yeah, that too.
So he's chaotic. Chaotic.
It's chaotic chaos.
He's chaotic. Evil.
No, you go for it. Go for it. I want to hear yours first.
For Facilier,
Mm-hmm.
I would say he's chaotic. Because he's not chaotic neutral.
No.
I would say he's like borderline chaotic evil.
I would posit something, but I want to hear Ian's first.
So my rule on it is lawful evil. And
Yep.
here's why. Is law, especially when it comes to evil, isn't actually a set of rules put on by somebody else, but your own morals. So he plays by a very defined set of rules. Now, they may be defined by him, but he plays within them no matter which way it swings. So in my way of thinking is very much he approaches every situation in his... It seems chaotic to everyone else because at times he seems to be acting against himself, but everything that he's done is set forth by the original conversation they had.
Yeah.
Whether it be good or bad for him.
I think the best way to consider lawful evil is what the devils consider lawful evil. And the devils are some of the most powerful lawful evil entities you can run into. In fact, we have a whole bunch of pantheon for the devils as well. I didn't hear you, Sidney. What was that?
No, I was mouthing out over what you were saying. I love our evil gods. I love our devils and I love them so much. They're one of my favorite pantheons that we have. And I don't want to go to hell, but if we do go to hell, it's going to be really interesting.
I'm just saying, when you guys hit level 15, you're going to hell.
I'm also going to say this.
You heard
Sidney,
it now, folks.
Don't worry. Rufa will help you lawyer yourself out of hell.
Yes! There's a lot of different... I will say that will come in handy with one of them in particular.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them are chaotic as fuck.
Yup.
So,
but
we'll find out.
But the thing about devils that's lawful evil is it is the deal. And this is, I think, a really important thing because Ian mentioned this. It's about like the moral code, right? But listen to everything that Dr. Facilier is saying. Once you shake a poor sinner's hand, contract. Here's what you'll get from me, contract. Here's what will happen to you, good, bad, or indifferent, contract. And that's how devils operate. It's not about what you want. It's about what I can take legally against your will legally. That's lawful evil. Lawful evil is the most awful form of evil because it is the most inscrutable. Chaotic evil is the Joker. You can shoot that guy in the throat and it's graphic, but guess what? Fuck him. He's a prick. Pardon me. Screw him. He's a prick. He had it coming. He sets children on fire. He's insane. Stop him. Lawful evil, though. Lawful evil is the Falcone family. Batman could not punch enough people in the face to stop him. He eventually had to get outplayed by other mafias that weakened his empire, and then eventually the Falcones kind of fell out. Yes, Ian.
Arguably, Red Hood. Lawful evil. So
I love me some Red Hood.
Lawful evil. In the fact that he is finding justifiable. He is finding what he does justifiable for what is considered a greater good determined by him. So it's one of those things where it's like to quote a Batman movie, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Is the fact that at some point Red Hood has donned the visage of being a evil a gang boss to shut down other gangs.
Now, really fast, which Red Hood are we talking about? Because I'm thinking it starts to sound like Red Hood from Marvel Comics, not Red Hood from DC Comics.
No, so in the DC Comics, it is Red Hood from DC Comics.
Right.
Is the strain I'm going with. There is and it's very short. It's actually not very long at all before he's redeemed. He ends up taking over a group of basically 8-issue, 10-issue named gang or whatever it is. It's actually in the animated movie. He takes over a small gang of people. It's
Follow
not
the Red Hood,
yeah, Follow the Red Hood. It's not a huge deal.
Rise of the Red Hood, one of those two. Yeah.
Rise of the Red Hood, yeah, but it's basically the fact that he's using the power that he saw used against him once, but now that he's in charge of it, it's okay.
See, it's weird because I always thought he was more like chaotic good. Because I think Jason Todd, at least depending on what iteration you're reading, does still want to do the job that Batman does, but he hates the methods that Batman uses because he feels there needs to be more extreme and permanent choices. Now, maybe that's Jason Todd down the road. Like once he's revealed himself as back from the dead, maybe you could argue that was chaotic good Jason Todd. But maybe, when he first popped up, Michael, what's up? I saw you you had this mind blown thing. What's up, Mike?
Well, a couple things. First thing, I consider when Jason Todd came back from the dead, before he revealed himself to be the Red Hood, he was definitely lawful evil. But as he went down the line, he became more, I want to actually say, neutral evil.
Doing the work because, doing the bad stuff for no reason,
we
pay to do it.
We are now getting into
for his own reasons.
My favorite part of role playing. And I'm super excited about it, is the alignment system. The alignment system is the beginning of all good talks of philosophy. You really get to know people of how they stand on literally 9 boxes. There's 9 boxes, there's 9 choices, and the arguments are infinite. And I think the best part about all of it is that I don't think any character or any player can actually define their alignment because it changes so often and it slides throughout the story.
I also want to say that one of the reasons why I kind of felt that I had my mind blown is I always consider myself kind of, as a person, lawful neutral, or maybe to neutral good, maybe. Now I'm kind of realizing maybe I'm lawful evil. Fuck.
What?
No, I'll say this. There's a very broad line. Lawful neutral is the letter of the law. Lawful evil is a manipulation of the law. So as long as you're not capitalizing on loopholes and lies and slander and scandal, then you're just lawful neutral.
I mean, I do take advantage of loopholes.
I mean, okay, you're more neutral good, but because the greater good is us paying our taxes, but not becoming destitute and broke, paying our taxes. I'd say that's neutral good. Lawful evil is not paying any taxes because you have a shell company out in the Bermudas that you call a charity fund. And by shipping money into that therefore makes you not only have to not pay taxes, but get a tax break from the government so you get money back.
I mean, if I had the resources, I totally would.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Michael.
In chat, Lost Thought chimed in and said, I've been called chaotic.
So
I feel so attacked by that.
So I now want to play a one-shot where we are, I guess, creating the constant chaos of Lost Thought's life. I'm imagining Lost Thought on fire, wearing a diaper at a 7-Eleven, winging a bottle of Four Loko above their head. And that's how the one-shot starts. Lost Thought, am I close? Am I close, Lost
I kind of want to say this. I know Lost Thought in real life, and that's not that far from the truth.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So should we dive into alignments then? Now that we've kind of veered that way?
Actually, I wouldn't mind because...
Actually, I was going to do that, yeah.
Should I go first, or does somebody else want to go first?
Well, how about we do this? Let's make this interesting. I want you guys to talk about your character's alignments, why you think that, and what you're pulling from that. But chat watching right now, chat, I want you to confirm or deny based on evidence that you have witnessed. Are these characters truly playing their alignment? I will not punish them one way or the other. I just want to see what you guys have to say. So, Michael, and again, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
How do you see Rufa, Michael?
Well, on his character sheet, it says right now lawful neutral. I believe it says not lawful neutral. Hence one of the reasons is because he's a teacher, and also he is an investigator. He understands the law. He also knows how to manipulate the law to a certain extent. But honestly, I want to say almost the past 5 games we played, I think he is leaning towards something else. I don't know what, but he's leaning towards something else that's not lawful neutral. I almost want to say chaotic neutral, not really chaotic neutral, or neutral good maybe. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure he's entirely lawful neutral at this point.
Okay. So he started off lawful neutral. Now he's maybe more slowly tripping into chaotic good, is what I'm hearing?
No, neutral good maybe.
Neutral good. Neutral good is my favorite alignment, so I will say that. So everyone listening, what do you think about Rufa? I'm seeing someone think chaotic good. Okay. Keyword Calamity thinks maybe chaotic good. I see Rip Psyche's guess for Ilona. I'm going to wait for Sidney to talk about Ilona before I go into what chat thinks about Ilona.
Okay.
What?
I'm gonna give my piece on Rufa. So
your piece of oh snap.
We gotta get ready.
Ian, I didn't anticipate this. Ian.
Give me that popcorn.
Here's my here's my thing. So I think the key of what evil comes down to inside of the alignment system is selfishness. Right? Mm-hmm. It is whether they are gaining their way through law, whether they're gaining their way through neutrality as an opportunity, or they are gaining their way through causing others chaos.
Yeah.
I think, personally, everybody in the party is actually on Rufus' side, and we are all gaining due to his neutral evil. Now, I'm not saying this in a bad way. I think Rufa actually has his best intentions at heart. And I think he has the party's intentions at heart. And I think, personally, every campaign and every party needs an evil character. For the simple fact that there has to be a driving force even when nothing's happening. If Rufa is striving for things to be better, in some ways, he is looking out for himself, whether he realizes it or not. And in looking out for himself, it is to save Adelfond, because staying inside of the walls and keeping those walls together means that the city structure will stay around. And going on and double-crossing on a rendezvous from a very nice, clean date to a political movement through a few glasses of wine tells me neutral evil. But it is not the evil that we associate with Mordor. It's the evil that sits under everybody, which is how selfish are we going to be to make sure that everybody we like and everybody we're around, survives.
Mm-hmm. I can see that because he is. I do see Rufa as now very opportunistic, but he's also opportunistic about the group. He doesn't really. He cares about the people who's immediately around him.
Mm-hmm.
And I could definitely see that.
And it's not a bad thing. That's the part about it.
Yeah.
Is everybody associates evil with like, oh, well, screw it. I'll just grab that person and, torture them to get what I want.
Ian, do you remember, I think it's a couple games ago, somebody referred to Rufa as Jafar. He's an evil.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
Exactly. No, there's a certain portion of that it is the selfish actions you are willing to take to ensure the world that you exist in survives, because this is the world that you work in.
Yeah, definitely. Because one of the things as Rufa, how I've been playing him as he sees the world kind of a chess game. He needs to basically advance strategy. Also, it's also kind of in his combat positioning, all that. So yeah, I could definitely see him as neutral evil. Honestly, now.
Yeah. I could see him as neutral evil. I would also argue, and I've been looking at the chat, and I see a lot of agreeing on selfishness. I see neutral good, chaotic good. My thing, and this is my philosophy. I might be wrong, but I see that survivalism, which is one of the biggest instinctual desires of every animal, considering that humans are animals to some degree, is a selfish desire. Not a bad one, not a good one, but it's a self-centered, selfish desire. I must live, and sometimes it means others don't or others do, but I must live. I think if I had to put my 2 cents into it, neutral evil is, I think, the extreme of where Rufo can go, but I think he mostly operates out of chaotic good, which is may the good thing happen by any means necessary. And that's kind of the big thing here. Rufus still understands what good is, and he wants good to happen. But to do that, he has to do the thing that may not be good so that good can function. And I think that's kind of the chaotic good, the Robin Hood metaphor of chaotic good.
True.
I have to break the law to protect the law.
True, but I also could see that also turn around to being also neutral evil, where yeah, he will do whatever it takes for the greater good. He will do the bad things for the greater good to happen.
Well, I would love to keep debating this, and maybe we can do that at episode 21.
Yeah.
But since we have 3 other classmate players, and I have way too many NPCs, let's go on to the next person. Now, the chat thought that they knew Alona, and maybe they do 1,000%, or maybe they do 0%. Sidney, what alignment would you say is Ilona?
Okay, so here's the thing. Her alignment is written down as lawful good. And I think that makes sense with the fact that she follows the god of redemption and goodness and righteousness. And yes, she wants to follow a very strict code. She comes from a temple. She was raised to read books and be respectful, and following code is the thing that she does. But I think that the more she gets involved with this group, I think the more that she is, Shonen is looking at you. Bad influence.
Me? Well, I never.
I think the more that she gets influenced by a bunch of different people, because that's the thing about Alona, is that I do see her as a child. She's my age. She's in her early 20s, but she's still very much a baby, because she has, like Ian was saying earlier, she has all this knowledge, but has not had any time to practice it because she's been in a temple her entire life. And so I think the more that she learns about the world, and the more that she takes influences from these new people that she finds herself surrounded by, the more chaotic good she gets. The more she slowly devolves into well, yeah, okay, that sounds okay, we can do that. Yeah. What's up, Ian?
I argue.
Oh God.
That's never good.
You are on the right track. I do think that Ilona is definitely going to become the chaotic good character, but it is not devolved, it is evolves in the fact that she is now opened up to perspectives she's never met before.
That's true.
Now, opening yourself up to others' perspectives at its core is personal growth, right? So you have, and I'm not saying all perspectives are good. I'm not saying all perspectives are just and should be listened to, but big disclaimer to casino and entertainment. At the end there, but what I'm saying is that there are talking to other people that you do respect and you can fit in with and you can work with, and hearing their side of things opens yourself up to ways you haven't viewed things in the future, and how you view things in the past. It's kind of like PJ was saying. He wants to open up these cultures into his game, but he has to talk to the people who actually understand them before he makes an attempt. He's opening himself. Okay, so that gets really big. He's opening himself to thought process he hasn't had before, and he is acknowledging that to move forward. In the same way, Ilona is now going to become chaotic in the fact that if everyone's alignment plays out as it is written on paper right now, or if Rufa does change and starts to slide towards that neutral evil, Woodwort towards chaotic whatever he is, and Shionibus, who I think at heart is lawful good but doesn't want to talk about it, but we'll get there eventually. It starts to become this point where she's bouncing around in between all these alignments because she can see their merit in all of them, because these are the first people that she's had acknowledge her outside of the cathedral and her learnings.
Let me ask you this, Sidney.
Yes. All of that. Yes.
Let me ask you this, Sidney. Walking into the Vigil of Forgiveness Day, meeting Morel, an Akkadian. For those of you who don't know at home, there's a huge history between the Akkadians and the origins of the people of Or. We're going to save that for the show, but you know at least a handful of the atrocities that Acadia threw at Or. Not even the world, but just threw at Or. How did it feel to run into an Akkadian and he's this? What did you think of Morel? Let's just put it that way. And how did that make you feel at the world?
Well, I mean, that just goes into. That goes into her anathema. I don't. Which one is it? I don't know.
I think you're right. I think it depends if you want to pronounce like a Greek or a Roman. Either way, I think you're right.
It goes into like the core of who Aphra is as a god. It goes into forgiveness, redemption. It's no matter who you interact with, they always deserve to be heard out. They always get a second chance. They always have the right to who they are as a person. And so when Ilona met Morel, I think her immediate thought was like, this is my first test. This is my first test. She sent me out into this world, and now she's like, here's a person. Do you believe what I taught you? Do you believe he was real shitty to your people? I'm like, I believe. And
I cannot wait to go into more like Morel and more Akkadians, because one of the things I want to say is like Akkadians have made bad choices, but I want to show you how many Akkadians are great people. But that being said, later. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so stoked. Got so many thoughts. Sidney, continue. Oh, and Michael, yeah.
Really quick. I kind of want to expand to what Ian actually said. I definitely agree with it. If anybody in the party is basically kind of evolving with their alignment in real time, it would be Ilona, honestly. When we first met her, definitely lawful good. I feel now she's starting maybe to go leaning towards lawful neutral, and then I could definitely see her then evolving to neutral good into chaotic good, and kind of that route.
Yeah, going off of that, like I think we started to see that kind of, I'll say neutral, when Shionibus brought up the finger, and Ilona's like, yeah, she's like, we'll get this finger for you. I got your back. And Shionibus is like, whoa, okay. But I think that was kind of the first glimpse of potentially what's to come and what she's willing to do for the people around her.
And I love that she is doing her mother best, because like one of her children's is like, Mom, I need a finger. And she's like, clear panic, sheets of panic covering her face. And she's like, okay, finger. We'll get you a finger, I guess. Yeah.
Finger or us.
We're going to go to Costco and buy you a wholesale of fingers.
So finger
10 pack.
So I'm seeing the chat. The chat has said, Reap Psyche said lawful good all the way. Keyword Calamity is saying neutral good or chaotic good. I will say, and I'm seeing Malice 1974 is saying neutral good as well. I think it kind of depends on. It's in the middle between lawful good and neutral good. And one of the things I want to say about alignments, and I think this is important, is that alignments are not a static thing. You are not locked in to one philosophy of your personage 24/7. You can be lawful good, sun up and sun down, and on Sunday be neutral good. That does not stop you from being lawful good. There's a flexibility here because humans are dynamic creatures. Elves, dwarves, gnomes, rat folk, dynamic creatures. We have ups and downs. We have good days and bad days, but that does not change who we are as people. So I honestly believe that you may be lawful good, and sometimes when you get a few shots in you, you become neutral good in a church. And I see Ian says, in Vino Veritas, she's like, maybe you're always neutral good. But what's up?
Okay, I could honestly keep this stream going for hours with this conversation. I will tell you that now. But to keep it short, I think the thing is that as much as I argued for the fact that she is chaotic good, those around her, I will say it once. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Ones are where the stories start. Natural ones can change everything about your character down to their core in a beautiful way. You can play a character 9 different ways through a campaign with a good one. I love natural ones are my favorite thing in any role playing game. But with Ilona, there's the factor that as much as I argued for chaotic good, it all depends on. There's going to be a crisis, and there's going to be a crisis somewhere inside of her character arc. And she is going to either rely on the party, or she is going to turn and rely on Aphra. No matter what she chooses, she's going to be chaotic good, and here's why.
Oh, okay.
She's either chaotic good, yeah. Okay, so she's either going to be chaotic good because to the rest of the world and to other followers of Aphra, she is pulling along the other peoples around her. I'm mentioning in this rectangle because that's how we are on Skype. I'm like, or whatever the hell we're using. I don't know. I open up my laptop for streams only. But to the rest of Aphra's followers, she's going to be pulling her emotions off of the people who surround her now as her party. Or to her party, she's going to seem chaotic good because she's following Aphra wholeheartedly, which could then lead to chaotic moments within the group. Say, bring up Xanakin. I love playing an antagonist in any side of argument. I think that's kind of what makes it interesting in a lot of ways. So I argued, spare Xanakin. Now, whether Ian thought it was a good idea and whether Woodworth, that's a whole nother conversation. But if she chooses to go down the lines of Aphra and keeps forgiving people or accepting them for who they are and what they've done and moving forward, to the rest of the group, that's going to seem chaotic because you don't know who her alignment really sits with. Is it the party or the person we just got done fighting? Why are you telling them sorry? They started this. There's going to be an element of chaos, and that's the other thing with the alignments is that no matter what your character's alignment is, your alignment of your character to other people is only what the other person views of you.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part about them.
It's very much like, when you exist as a social creature, and humans by our extension, I don't know about elves or dwarves because I haven't met them in real life, but okay, debatable. I've met some people who were like 6'2" and definitely dwarves, but as far as humans go, we're social creatures, right? And the problem with being a social creature is there's the mirror you hold to yourself with who you think you are, and there's the mirror that society views you through of who you physically are. And that's definitely a problem because there's always going to be a crisis between these two. There's going to be what I'm trying to do and what I actually do, what I interpret my intentions and what I misinterpretly do. So it's always hard with alignments because in your heart of hearts, you may be lawful good. And maybe you have the rationality or irrationality to make that be the case. But maybe your actions eventually to the outside world doesn't matter what your rationality is. They're going to go like, look, you're evil. Why would you say that? You set the orphans on fire. They were demons. They were all demons. We didn't know that. But there's a whole cult that uses demons. Writing down cult that uses orphans, cult, demon, orphans. Anyway, so they don't know that. So they just know you as a bunch of orphan burning psychos. But you're like, we're purging the world of evil. And that's kind of now that's obviously an absurdist response, but that's comedic at best. Michael, I saw your hand raised a few times.
Really quickly, I just want to say that I totally agree with Ian. I honestly think that Alona's experience with the party is definitely going to shape her path in her alignment's evolution. Honestly, I'm going to use a food analogy. Alona is tofu. She takes on that's not bad. That's not bad.
No.
She takes on the flavors,
Following it.
sauces, and whatever you use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're totally on the same train.
Absolutely.
And that's actually the thing that PJ brought up. I was actually going to bring up Bard in The Hobbit. If you read the book compared to the movies, which, again, this will go on for hours if we start talking about those, but Bard in the books, he is a guard that no one likes. He's actually kind of mean to everybody around him. In the entire book, he's standing guard all by himself. And the reason that he's all by himself and they stick him in the darkest part of the city is because no one wants to deal with him. And he's the first one to see Smaug coming. He doesn't do it for the people. He realizes he's going to be the first person to be killed by Smaug. So he shoots the dragon. And the entire rest of the group, the rest of the, it's like one chapter and it's like a paragraph. But he literally leaves saying, no, I'm not the person you think I am. Stop trying. Off of screen, rest of story continues. To the town, he is a hero. To Bard, he's selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the perfect, this is one of my favorite characters in like the Lord of the Rings, I guess you could say, world, is Bard, because of his duality and the fact that Boromir is the best character in Lord of the Rings, and you're wrong if you don't think so. But
yeah, no, 1,000%. 1,000%.
But I'm so sorry to break it to you guys. I've never seen Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. I'm so sorry.
So you know what we're going to do?
Wait,
you know what we're going to do now? We are going to have a movie marathon. There's going to be pizza. There's going to be some form of adult beverage. We are going to watch at least the Lord of the Rings, and then we're going to watch the Hobbit trilogy. You're seeing these movies.
Yeah.
Cool.
Extended edition.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I feel like we have to move forward because I would love to talk about Alona and Rufa, but Chionibus. What is Chionibus's alignment? And I feel like we're going to get a lot of different responses, and I want to read all of them.
Okay. Ian is like waited with bated breath. Currently, she is chaotic neutral. Was she always chaotic neutral? No. So I'll start for currently. She's chaotic neutral because of her past. She left everything behind. She is now incredibly selfish. She only cares about herself because herself is all she has. She's the only one she can trust ever. Maybe that's why she left Larian and sunk his ship. I don't know. But she was borderline lawful good and like neutral good. she lived in this city. PJ mentioned it earlier, and she believed in a god wholeheartedly, followed similar to Alona, so she knows how Alona feels. She gets the whole god thing, but given someone in her past, and elves aren't necessarily supposed to die, it caused her to re-look at her life and leave. So yeah, Ian, bring it on. Let's go.
We're all looking at Ian like, all right, you're gonna challenge it. Give us your thesis.
Ian puts on the glasses.
Oh, the glasses are on. Y'all
So-
watch
No,
out.
actually,
Anime time.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I was actually reading chat, and it's really interesting that everybody has chaotic neutral written down.
Yeah.
Like almost every, and then it's also really the same thing of further trauma could easily push it towards evil.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do want to offer up, everyone said chaotic neutral. Malice is offering lawful
Yes.
evil.
yes.
Ooh.
And so so the thing for me is, no, it's not scholar mode by putting on my glasses. That would mean that I am a deeper human being than I truthfully am. It's reading my phone from more than 3 feet away from me. That's what brings out the glasses. No, but I think this is where this is elves specifically, because no matter what role-playing system I've ever encountered, they seem to be the longest living thing besides deities. Like, and then you start getting into demons and devils and stuff, but playable, usually one of the longest lived. And I think elves are the best example of the fact that the alignment system is trash. And which that's I argue for and against the alignment system with every character I make. In the fact that we always talk about it being a sliding scale. And a sliding scale on a human thing, great, cool. We live 85, 90 years, right? We're good. Like that's good. 90 years is like, whew. But you can only slide so far on a scale until you've reached a end. Right? I mean, I'm not saying that you can't move farther to an extreme in either direction, but those extremes have to be set wider for elves because they can experience more. So if you have an elf that's slowly shifting towards evil because of trauma, an elf could live longer to experience more trauma.
Yeah.
Or absolutely,
an elf could live longer to experience more good.
I feel like that brings back full circle, where it's like you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself as the villain. I think that's a perfect example of kind of what Shionabis is going to. She's like, I'm either going to die saving this town, or I am sorry, guys. She's the kind of person that if the going gets tough, she will turn and run and just turn her back and just not blink an eye. She's like, if this is gonna kill me, I'm good, and just like bounce in the middle of the night.
So
similar what she did to Larry and Voss.
Not unless you get really attached to us first.
So
that's
Michael,
the thing.
Sorry, I'll interrupt all day.
Let's give Michael a chance. Michael, what do you have your hand raised? What's
really
up?
Quick, I just want to add that I totally agree with what Ian said. I kind of want to piggyback on it, saying that if everybody in the party, Shionabis is the literal wild card. She's the wild card. Thing is, she's chaotic neutral. I don't think she'll ever leave the neutrality aspect of her alignment, but she will either go, depending on what happens, chaotic good? No, was it a neutral good, become neutral good, or neutral evil? Mm-hmm. Those are the only two paths that I could really see her having.
Yeah. When you said wild card, and I apologize, my brain once again went to Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Wild card.
You're Charlie Day in the back of a van with a bunch of bootleg gasoline in a match going, wild card, and blowing up the whole thing.
So
You're not, but my brain couldn't stop it. So
and
Uh,
that's the hardest part, and this gets into a wider conversation, so I'll keep it short, is the fact that in the moment, whatever pain or good Shionibus feels is in that singularity is everything she is, because she is in that moment. It is what is going to determine her next move. So it could say this is all Shionibus is. If she experiences a wholeheartedly loving group around her and she moves towards good, then she is good. But the other side of things of that is that one singularity, that moment where she experienced good, is also going to be the first thing forgotten, because that's how time works.
yeah.
So
really
having
sorry.
such a large timeline, it means she can slide all over the place, because in that singularity of someone giving their life or doing something for the greater good, or wading into battle or throwing themselves on the line in that moment, which denotes they are good, she may live past that moment, which means she may not be good after that. And that's the hardest part about having like an infinitum of age to a character.
Yeah.
Can I add something really quick?
Totally.
I want to add I feel her theme, if anything, is self-preservation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of the chat is talking about that too. Reap Psyche's mentioning it, and a few others I've talked about it at some point too.
But and now there goes in the argument of, is it self-preservation or is it species preservation?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Go on
And when
further
it-
about that, Ian.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't want to cut you off, Kayla, because I definitely want you to say some things. But I will say there's a bunch of stuff about elves the audience doesn't know yet. But species preservation is definitely a hot topic for elves. Please continue,
So
Kylie.
I think Kylie and I are on the same page on this. And
Mhm.
Kylie, go ahead and say what you're going to say, because I don't want to be
Yeah, it's because elves have such a long life. It's kind of like what Ian was saying, like, oh, well, someone might have saved her once in a battle, but that split second is a split second to a human is not even a millisecond to an elf, and 5 years to a human is 2 days. Like, time is just such a different construct to elves. That's like, oh, that who? Like, someone will say a name, like, yeah, they've been traveling with us for 7 days, and they're like, who? They're like, they were here? Like, it's such an accelerated sense of time that I don't think she really only cares about herself, and thus having herself only in the moment when it involves her. That makes any sense at all.
No, it absolutely does. And I can definitely see that happening when you've been told your entire life that you are this immortal child of gods, that you will outlive everything else. And then to make that more tragic, to know that there will never be another one of you ever again in history. And any elf you know, there will never be another elf just like that elf ever again if they should ever pass. Because when the pruning happened, I'm not going to say much, when the pruning happened, elves were changed forever because of that. And therein lies this other whole problem, which is, yes, we are immortal, and yes, time is very different for us, and yes, living with you humans is very different from us. But now we have to look at the fact that even though we can live thousands of years, that means we have a memory for history, and we have a fear of the present that is very different than a mortal fear of the present, and very different from a mortal memory of the past. And a little tip of my hat with the feather in it, we're going to find more elves that are going to show different spectrums of how other elves are handling this whole great pruning thing. I'm really excited for you to meet a whole bunch of elves, because some elves
I'm so excited.
Some elves have taken it very well. Some elves have taken it horrendously, and I cannot wait to show you the dichotomy. It's Adolphon
So
Senate
excited.
ain't even going to touch how bad and good it gets. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway. So I think we've all talked about alignments. I know I want to talk about Woodward's alignment a little bit, but I think we should save that for episode 21. Unless Ian, you want to tell us what Woodward's alignment is.
So this is one of the hardest things I have to say. I have to try to pinpoint on a character is even a starting point, because you have to take in everything they've experienced so far to the point that they get onto this track. And that's really hard to bounce on an alignment back and forth on. Because it gets into the thing of people being who they are in the singularity of the moment, which means the moment before all of this happened, Woodward could have been really, really treated really, really well or treated really, really shittily. And his next interaction with the group is going to be dictated by that previous. But Woodward on his character sheet is chaotic good. Now, I originally wrote that down because of his comedy aspect to his character. And I think chaotic good actually fits a heck of a lot better with the character that he got jammed with, Jim Jam.
You got Jim jammed with?
Yeah, he got Jim jammed with. PJ, you get a hero point. But I honestly think he's actually pretty close to true neutral. And my only saying for that is I don't think he actually takes into consideration what anybody else thinks. At all. Yeah. And which could also be seen as a side of evil. And I totally see that, because that is also selfishness and such. But I think he's closer to neutral in the fact that he sees everybody and goes, yeah, I don't agree with that, and I don't care if you don't agree with that. He's got an argument with every single person in the party so far.
That's true.
And NPCs.
True. Has him and Morel had a fight? I know
so it wasn't a fight, but he disagreed with Morel on going into the city at all.
Oh, well, yeah, that's,
yeah.
I mean, of course.
Right.
Yeah, so there was a disagreement about that. He disagreed with Ilona on the finger.
That's true.
I should say the finger. But he also disagreed with her in a previous episode on Xanakin until he swayed her in one direction or the other. I personally think he's kind of neutral in the fact that he'll go with what the majority says, but he's not going to agree with it. And he's fine with that.
Can I say this? That kind of reminds me of that one meme from Bob's Burger. Basically, it's where Bob says, "You know what? I'll go there, but I'm going to complain about it the entire time."
I was just thinking that.
But I definitely agree. Like, I'm actually surprised you actually have him as chaotic good. I always felt, if anything, especially with this party, he's the balance. He's true neutral. But I can see with true neutral, depending on how his demeanor and everything and how things go, he'll either swing lawful neutral or neutral good.
Yeah, and I think that's the hardest part about it is no matter how much we want to say we knew our characters beforehand, you can write down as much as you want as your character and your synopsis beforehand, but as soon as you encounter a group of others, your character shifts a little. It's the same thing with the singularity. As we play these characters, we can write down an entire backstory, but we are going forth the characters at the moment they met the party. And I think that's where Woodward, honestly, after like the third episode, was neutral, was true neutral. Is the chaotic good was easy to play until he really had to realize that he's in the middle of all of this, which means neutral is the best he can offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also definitely want to say, if anything, Woodward and Ilona, they're very surface characters. Like, you basically what you see is what you get with them.
Mm-hmm.
For characters like Rufa and Chonibus, I feel both of our characters, we kind of have, you probably don't see it, but we have ulterior motives.
Oh yeah.
We have very unexpected actions at times.
Yeah. Like, honestly, if anything, we're kind of liars.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To
I-
a T.
Yeah.
Remember when the whole, Shionibus can speak Orcish, and she got the papers, and then Rufa was like, let me read the papers, and Shionibus is like, no.
What
And
then we
papers?
had that standoff, and there was so
Right
much
in front of his eyes.
tension,
Yeah.
and everyone else was like, hi.
Honestly, when I saw that scene in my head, this is how I saw it. Literally, she literally just takes in front of the entire group, takes those maps and just like puts it away in front of everybody. Like, what paper? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
And I think PJ's onto something when he's talking about episode 21. Is the one thing we need to bring back is the alignment conversation.
That's true.
Because
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, look at everything you guys have written down on your character sheet so far for your alignments, including myself, and realize we've gone 10 episodes and we're already different than what we wrote down. Like,
Yeah, we're at least a
it's
step
already
different. One step.
At least one step. It's already
Yeah.
useless. Like,
Yeah.
That's true.
Now, what I challenge is hopefully I can introduce more NPCs in this time between episode 12 and episode 21. There's a handful I want to show you guys. How I can make it work, we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But there's one in particular that I'm really curious to see how they're going to affect the chat, how they're going to affect the chat alignment system conversation, because I kind of built them to be kind of a shakeup of the whole thing. I don't want to say his name because I don't know. I don't want to give it away. But let's just say he's not what you're going to expect of a person of his class and position.
Oh,
Really
Anyway,
quick,
I'm
I want,
excited.
Is this who I think it is?
Yes.
Sydney? Okay.
Maybe.
Yes, it is.
Maybe.
really
Oh,
quick, I want to see this.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm really, really curious once we get our 5th Power Ranger in the group, like alignment wise, how they would fit in. Because if anything, we kind of represent from a spectrum of 1 to 10 at this point, with us 4.
Well, either way, they're going to either represent a 6 or they're going to represent a 12. And we will only know if and when that day comes, we are graced with a Tommy. Until then, we have ourselves a Jason, a Billy, a Trini, and a Kimberly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is. I'm just throwing out names because clearly I'm Zach.
We need a Zach. If anything,
I'm
we
Zach.
need a Zach.
No, I'm Zach. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I mean,
I definitely want to
Morel.
be Kimberly.
I was gonna say, if
I-
anything, PJ, you're Zordon.
Dead down
Zordon.
Kimberly.
I want to be Yellow Ranger. I don't know.
Trini
if
was
I'm
bomb. Like, that girl could kick your ass, man. She was awesome.
Yellow Ranger's favorite.
So really fast, I will open up the floor to any questions that want to be asked. We're about to wrap up. I do have the results of the voting, unless anyone else wants to vote really fast. You have until this question is answered to vote. Right now, the votes are pretty much settled, but who knows? Maybe like 5 people will come in and vote for something and throw it all into chaos. Who knows? Any other questions from the chat, being to me, to a player, about a character, about a world stuff, anything at all? Give that a few minutes for the chat to decide if they have any questions at all. In the meantime, I'll read the voting as it is now. And if that changes before the next 15 minutes, then I will redo that. But right now, as it stands, the least amount of votes, so sorry, Ian, goes to the Druidic Circle of Hope. Unfortunately, the Druidic Circle of Hope is not the winner today. But much
I feel like
to...
we're all on The Bachelor waiting for a rose.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. You're not getting a rose. Please go home.
Joke's on you. I'm not stuck in the house with the rest of you guys.
Joke's on you, chumps. I got my dime. I'm getting out of here. So much to Sidney's joy, the College of Prats and Stunts only got 2 votes.
Whoever who did it.
So there won't be any clowns.
She's still going after two
I'm
people.
At the table, we're going to create clowns at some point.
They hate
We're
me.
going to create clowns at some
No.
No, please don't.
Michael,
No.
Michael, all
World
I'm
is
saying
safe.
is, and chat, all I'm saying is, when October rolls around, month long of Halloween one shots. A month long of Halloween one shots, and maybe you happen to stumble upon a demon possessed carnival. I'm just saying, maybe clowns have to be invented. Demon clowns. Maybe we'll have to do something else.
Are you serious? Because
The carnival sounds really cool, but like, can we like cut out the clowns?
Nope.
Oh, you don't like them either? Yeah, solidarity.
No, God, no.
clown.
I want all
God,
clowns now. I want nothing
Not
but clowns.
in this world. No.
Nope.
This is the neutral evil coming out. All clowns.
Welcome to Clown World. Okay. What someone asked, and I will get to the rest of the vote later. We'll find out who won the vote. But someone asked, what is the I'll say GM's thoughts on prestige classes and multi-classing? Also, someone asked about demon zombie clowns. Yes, demon zombie clowns. Happy birthday, Sidney. You're getting demon zombie clowns for your birthday.
Not on my birthday.
Sidney, let's go.
So, my thoughts on prestige class and multi-classing. In every other edition but this one, the biggest problem with prestige class and multi-class is how much of your primary class you are sacrificing. It always kicks me in the pants that it's like, I have this potential to have this uniquely cool thing with this uniquely cool combination, but something about this intrinsic class is going to suffer, and it drives me bonkers. Like the rule of thumb with 3.5 in Pathfinder 1 was you never split up your caster level. A lot of prestige classes in first edition was like, maybe you get a prestige class or a caster level at this prestige level, maybe you don't. And as casters, you need that because your caster level is not dependent upon your level at this point. So you could be level 20 wizard, and you might only be casting levels like a 15 or 16th level wizard. That's a huge detriment to a caster. For what? So that you can ride a horse? You know, it seems like a weird trade-off, but I love what they've done in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, which is you're now cherry-picking feats at the appropriate level. You're creating this ultimate custom character. And it's kind of solved a lot of the weaknesses of multi-classing and prestige classing, which is your primary class will suffer tremendously for trying this out, and you have to wage or measure risk versus reward. So that's my thought. How do you feel about Gestalt classes? Love them. Overpowered as hell, and I love them. Give me all the Gestalt classes. I did not play D&D to be a weakling. I play it to be a god.
PJ, really quick, do you mind if I add a little something to the multi-class thing as well?
Absolutely. We've been talking about it on At the Table. Go right ahead.
Yeah, as a person who actually ends up being the DM 95% of the time, this game is, I think, the first game I'm actually a player in almost 2 years. I've been doing nothing but DMing. What I don't like about back in the day about prestige classes and multi-classing is it becomes a mixed bag. You get, as you progress through your prestige levels, you get you get a good ability, and then the next level of that, the ability really sucks, and then maybe a good ability, somewhat mediocre ability, then another sucky ability. What I love about Pathfinder 2E is you get to cherry pick all your abilities when you kind of use an archetype multi-classing.
Yeah. So long as you meet the prerequisites and you have the levels, you can kind of decide. In fact, some levels even come with 2 or 3 different options for that archetype or prestige class or whatever. And you can go, okay, well, I want this one. These 2 are great, but this doesn't work for my build, so I'll steal this one. And it's very fun. For the first time in a long time, you're no longer having the panic of making sure everything is just right. It's fun. So I definitely, and I love,
you have more control.
Yeah. And I love Gestalt because, like I was saying, I was playing with Ian, I was playing a swashbuckler magus, and he was a Gestalt, and he was insane. I think I crit one time, Ian, and I one-shot a boss because
yeah, there's a few of those where you end up being able to realize that your crit damage doubles everything. So the swashbucklers being able to, well, in that, I believe that was Pathfinder 1. It was. Your swashbuckler being able to demoralize and use intelligence instead of anything else to be able to attack. And then on top of that, being able to double whatever spell you cast past the sword. It just starts to do the thing of it's like, oh, I'm going to stab this guy and then make fireball happen inside him. Like it gets gross.
It gets insane.
Yeah.
Level 3, I one-shot a boss character by critting on a spell strike swashbuckler ability. Anyway, but yeah, I love it. I love power, but at the same time, I love good role play. And the trick you have to do as a player is knowing how to build something to be fun to play, but how to also build a character to be fun to play. And that being said, now we're down to the last two. So we know the Circle of Hope and the College of Prats and Stunts didn't cut it. So the question is, what organization is going to be officially canon? Something I'm going to have to make up and make a real thing in this world in Edge of Legend. And the winner at a total of 5 votes is Cult of the Crystal Stag.
Nice. Okay.
Hold up.
Can I reveal something?
Yes.
I'm going to reveal it.
All right.
Oh, yes. Oh, Sidney, something wrong with the votes.
Yeah.
What's up?
Wait a last minute vote.
Last minute votes. I love last minute votes.
Check
Hold on.
again.
Let me check again.
Yeah, check again.
Let me check again. Hold on. Hold on. So close. It's a tie. It's a tie between the Reckoners and the Cult of the Crystal Stag.
The Reckoning Crystal Stags.
The
And we have it.
the Reckoning Stag. Oh my God. Okay. I love this.
Ooh.
Should we do another vote next game to see the final two?
Ooh, maybe.
Did you try to outvote me?
What?
Sydney,
I didn't vote.
I see that.
Okay, I'll be honest. My vote was for the Druidic Circle of Hope, and I was the only person that voted.
You guys actually voted? I
did.
I lied.
I did.
I was toying with the idea. Oh my God. Okay. Well,
Wait, Ian, you haven't voted?
no, I haven't.
I think you better vote, my man.
Well,
you could break this tie.
No.
He votes for the college. I want to see.
Yeah, I
He's
did.
like the college.
I just did.
Oh
It
my
now
God.
has 3 votes because I'm going to stick with my guns.
Yeah.
I love this.
Oh my God.
Black Mahoney 87 saying, "Damn, the Top Girl voice is powerful." Oh man.
That's you. That's you, Kylie.
That's what
all you.
I'm going to stick to what I said in the very beginning. Clowns in pratfalls and stunts.
No.
Well, all right. So
See, I just had a good feeling about the Cult of the Crystal Stag. You know, I just had a good feeling
Should
about
we
it.
reveal about the cult or?
Oh, no, I'll do it. I'll do
No?
it in a second. But actually, you know what? Let's not do a reveal right now because this could be
Okay.
interesting. Malice, I agree with you, Malice. I'm seeing 6 for Reckoners. Okay, so here's my official GM weighing in. Next Wednesday, episode 12, when we kick off the peace talks between Magistra Bellina and Master Dominus as they fight very hard to agree on war and peace, as Shionibus has a plan to get a finger and possibly talk to the Ice Queen, as the rest of the heroes do whatever horrendous shenanigans they're going to do at a nice and spicy night in Adelphon. I'm really curious because there's a lot of other things you could do there. Also, where is Morinlay? No one's been looking for Morinlay. She's in town, but no one's been looking for her.
We're
So
bad babysitters.
So horrible parents.
I honestly think she needs none of us to survive at this point.
Right? I was like, she's good on her own.
Yeah,
She's
like,
got this better than we do.
if anyone tries to mug her, she's just going to be like, and bomb to the face, and they're going to blow up and die. Anyway, so next episode, not only are we going to answer all the questions from episode 10 and move forward into what could possibly be the first steps of Edge of Legend, the Green War, but we're also going to have a vote and see who is the final winner. Is it going to be the Reckoners or the Cult of the Crystal Stag? That being said, this will end episode 11 for tonight. Thank you so much for chilling and kicking back and talking with us. We just figured it'd be really nice now that we've hit affiliated and just kind of need to get some things settled and set up that we could just chill and talk with you guys. And hopefully we could build more shows and talk with you guys some more and build some more crazy stories. So we're going to say goodbye, and we're going to say who we are, where you can find us, who we play when we're not talking about alignments for an hour and a half. And it was so good. I hope one day maybe we can have a nice Zoom chat from a Denny's and we can all talk about alignments until 3 a.m. Mr. Ian. That being said, let's start off with Mr. Ian. Mr. Ian, tell us who you are, who you play on Edge of Legend, and where we can find you on the internet.
My name's Woodwort. My name's Ian. I play Woodwort, the gnomic druid, and I roll for Mush. You can find me on Instagram at Scoutmaster of the Troop. You can find me on Twitch at Scoutmaster of the Troop as well. If you guys ever want to shoot me a message about anything, I'm more than happy. I think I had a few conversations start up about alignment, so I'm ready to hear it. And who knows? You guys can also follow me on my blog at blackcoffeephilosophy.com, and an alignment post may be coming up pretty soon.
Nice. We've been thinking about having Ian join us another At the Table, or a show much like At the Table. So maybe one day we'll sit you down at the table. We'll talk about alignments for 3 hours, because I know we could. I know we could.
The philosophy of D&D.
We'll build characters and all kinds of fun stuff. And my man, Mr. Michael Powell, please tell us who you are, who you play, and where we can find you in that sweet, sweet internet.
As PJ said, my name is Michael Powell, and you can find me all over the interwebs. My social medias are all pretty much at Mr. Kapao. That's MRKAPAO. That's Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also follow me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Michael Powell Does Stuff, because I do a lot of stuff, such as also I co-host a toy show that's usually on Thursdays called Toyzilla Live. That's on the Toyzilla network on Twitch. And yeah.
Very nice. All right, Sidney, take it away. Tell us who you are, who you play, and where we can find you in that sweet, sweet internet.
Hi, my name's Sidney, and I play Ilona, the half-elf cloistered cleric who's an innocent cinnamon bun that's becoming a chaotic monster, and I love her. So you can find me on the internet at Sidney Rubino. That is on Instagram. That is on Twitter. And every Tuesday, I post a fairy tale that I read every Tuesday to my YouTube. So if you like fairy tales, I wear cute headgear and I read them out loud, and I have really interesting discussions at the end of them, hopefully, that spark more philosophies, much like the conversations that we had tonight. So if you like that, visit me on my YouTube page at Sidney Rubino on YouTube.
And Kylie, tell us who you are, who you play, and where we can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Hi, I'm Kylie. I also go by Kai, if that's easier. Some people it is, some people it isn't. Anyway, I play Shonibus, the Elven Ranger, who we've had a lot of discussion about tonight. You can find me at Kai's Wonderful Life. I think it's there. It might be over here. I really don't know anymore.
It's over there.
But I'm on... I was like, I think it's here.
It is there.
I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I'm working on a Twitter. I'm here on Twitch. I am going to Evermore Park in Pleasant Grove, Utah this weekend. So come along, and either if you're in the area, come join us, or I'll be posting a whole bunch of stuff to my Instagram. And yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right, I guess that just leaves little old me. My name is PJ Megaw. I am the GM of Edge of Legend here at Nat 20 Productions. A lot of awesome things come around the corner. We are working like crazy on to make it happen. You can find me everywhere on the internet at pj.megaw. It should be in this general area. When I'm not doing this show, I'm working on At the Table with my man Michael Powell, where we pull up a chair, pull out our D&D books, or in this case, the amazing Pathfinder books from Paizo, and we ask you to come join us at the table and discuss these books and what we love doing and building and character building and how some of this building relates to this show right here. Maybe I can talk about this right now. There's going to be an appearance of a familiar half-elf high school student in a new show that Ryan Omega, if you know him from Blank Slate, is bringing back. So if you remember a little show called Arcana High, your boy Kaelrin Camblade might be making a reappearance. If you don't know what that is, I'd be more than happy to tell you more about that when I get more details. But we are going to be bringing back Arcana High, but this time the bard goes to college. That was the dumbest thing I could have said. All right.
Wow.
So,
Great.
anyway, thank you so much.
Great.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us in the chat. Hope you enjoyed this Q&A session, and I look forward to kicking things with the craziness back off next week. And we'll see you next time, same Nats channel, and we look forward to becoming legends right along with you. You have a great night. We love you. Black Mahoney, don't worry if you never played this game before. Keep watching the show. We'll teach you how to play as we're playing it. Heck, some of us are learning new rules on the fly. It'll be great. We'll learn together. Safe space.
Kylie's like, me.
Yeah, thank you
That's
all
me.
for, honestly, thank you all for chiming in, everybody inside of chat and giving us questions and responses and such, because that's what kept this episode going. It was honestly written by all of you. So thanks so much, guys.
Absolutely.
I definitely want Rufa to be evil now.
He's actually going to turn into Jafar.
Yes.
That's all we need.
Incredible.
Oh, man. Well, you guys have a great night. We'll see you next week. Love you. Good night.
Good night.
Good